Welcome to Sonoma, California, where the beauty of the rolling California hills meets the brute force of the Trans Am Series, with cars that every race fan can't wait to see.
You keep coming back to the cars. I have not driven a car that's more fun. On asphalt, these are by far the coolest cars I've ever driven.
It's the most exciting race car to drive. If you love driving a race car, you are missing out by not driving a Trans Am car. It's as plain as that.
Big power, big personalities, no gimmicks. These machines are loud, loose, and absolutely alive. And we're here to bring you all the action from Sonoma Raceway. It's the Trans Am Racing Series presented by Pirelli Tires. Welcome to Sonoma Raceway. We're in the wine country of Northern California. The Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, ready to tackle the twisting, turning 2.52-mile road circuit known as Sonoma Raceway. Cars are making their way out onto the grid, and we are getting ready to go racing here momentarily on what has been a very chilly and wet weekend here in Northern California. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Sheheen, and I'm joined by the new president of the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli, Andy Lally. Andy, you've raced a lot of laps here in a variety of cars. Very cool temperatures, an on and off wet racetrack, and a vicious race car. This is going to make for some challenging laps for these drivers.
As it is, these Trans Am cars are high horsepower and a monster to drive. You add in probably worst case scenario conditions. You know, we were talking about this before the show. All wet is one thing, all dry is obviously usually preferred, but when you've got a damp track to where you can be flying through the S's with a lot of grip and then show up to turn 10 and there's a big damp spot right where you want to put your car, that's when things gets crazy. That's when the changing conditions, the variable conditions, where every lap that wet spot dries up another foot or so, or that light gray line where you want to put your loaded tire gets a little wider or moves a little bit. That's the tricky stuff. So these guys have to remember 11 tough corners, but then when they show up here and they get ready to roll and it's damp like this, every one of those corners changes each lap, and that's the tricky thing to adopt to. And when you've got almost 900 horsepower and you're flying around in a Trans Am car, that just adds an additional tough thing to figure out while we're negotiating Sonoma Raceway. 900
horsepower and no driver aids. It's up to you and your right foot to get it right.
And that is the coolest part about Trans Am. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm stoked for this race. These cars are a beast to drive, and we're going to see a great show here today.
And Andy had a chance earlier to take a look and to explain to us what a Trans Am Series by Pirelli car is all about.
The Trans Am Series has been around since 1966. What it has evolved to in that time is right here, a 900 horsepower, 2,800 pound beast. This thing produces over 2,000 pounds of downforce and flies around the track on 18-inch Pirellis. They're 14 inches wide at the rear, 13 inches wide at the front. It's an 18-inch wheel. Hauling tail around here. They're one of the most vicious cars around here. No traction control, no ABS, just a fire-breathing V8 flying around at 200 miles an hour. We have a wide variety of examples to run in our XGT class. This is a Corvette. It's got 600 horsepower at the wheels, and it's running on the 18-inch Pirelli tires again. It's making a lot of downforce, and you're allowed a lot of variations in XGT. So we're going to see cars from all over the world competing. High horsepower, high speed. These cars do have ABS, but they are not allowed traction control. Fitting right between our GT class and our XGT class is SGT. This is a very versatile car right here. This is a Howe chassis TA2 that it started life at, but it's eligible for SGT. You add 100 pounds, it's still the same Chevy LS motor, same Pirelli tires, same everything, but it's eligible to go race against the Porsche, the Mustang, and the Corvette that were more popular cars in this class. The three GT classes that we have in the Trans Am Series is GT, SGT, and XGT. This is an example of our XGT cars. We've got a lot of different makes in this class because we're catching cars from all around the world. This is a Mercedes. It's producing about 550 horsepower. It's going up against some cars that have over 600 horsepower. This car in particular makes a ton of downforce. We're on our 18-inch Pirelli tires, and we've got probably 1,500 pounds worth of downforce that we get on here. And now moving on to our GT class. Here we've got a Mustang, 475 horsepower, 6-speed paddle shift. It's big downforce with the wing. It's got a huge splitter up front here. Also on our Pirellis, like every other car in our Trans Am series here, this car is going to go up against a wide range of marques here. We've got an Aston Martin here. We've got Maserati here. We're racing against Porsches. We've got an Audi GT4 car here. Our GT classes encompass cars from around the planet, and the racing is amazing.
Andy, what's your favorite part about trying to wrestle one of these Trans Am cars around a circuit like this?
My favorite part about wrestling the Trans Am cars anywhere is your race to power. You know, when you've got so much power and it takes literally seconds. This isn't you get to the corner and just mash the gas. This is a feel from your right foot standing on the gas to your kind of your right butt cheek, you know, if you will. There's a seat of the pants feel when you don't have traction control to get that wheel going as fast as you can without spinning it, without burning that right rear tire off, without leaving a big smoky burnout in these hairpins where you're down to first gear and the most amount of torque and horsepower is getting to the ground. So that, to me, that's where the racers are made. That's where that feel, that's what separates the great drivers from the pretty good drivers. And we're going to see that today in exponentially, you know, it just, you know, resounding ways of how it's trickier in these cold conditions, because we're not going to get these tires up to heat as quickly as we would normally do on one of our sunny race days. And we've got some tight corners here coming out of 11, coming out of 7. It's tricky.
Yeah, it's going to be a real challenge, and the four-legged lawnmowers are out in force here today up on the hillside, making the place look great. And while they take care of the grass, and we're going to take care of some business before we get ready to head down for Ben Sissel and a grid walk coming up. Stay with us live here on Speed Sport 1.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Back here at Sonoma Raceway, taking a look into the paddock area and the garages. All those big haulers full up with TA2 cars from yesterday or empty with TA cars for today. And the grid is filling up, and that's where the third member of our crew, Ben Sissel, is at. Take it away, Ben.
Well, thank you so much. You can see Ken Twaits going out from the Central Welding Supply Chris Evans section, where they have 5 of the 6 TA Cup cars, a new class to the series with the Franklin Road Chevrolet Camaro. Now, Ken Twaits has the honor of finishing a race in TA and TA2 in TA Cup, in XGT, and SGT. All we got to do is find him a GT ride, and he'll finish a race in all of the Trans Am categories, which I think is pretty unique. The only person I know of to do that. We'll come back over here. These new TA Cup cars, really cool. We're buckling in right here with Jim Guthrie, one of our most experienced drivers. Jim Guthrie ran in the IndyCar Series. He actually won at Phoenix. I believe he had 3 Indy 500 starts. But we're used to seeing him in that beautiful Gulf Blue TA2 car. But you can see here the Guthrie's Garage. You dream it, we build it. So happy to have him out here. Then we come over here, Chris Evans, who actually helps build these cars. He's strapping in. Love it. This was his kind of whole brainchild, and it was here last year at Sonoma that we met with Chris Evans and really got serious with this class. Kind of named it the TA Cup class, so it's really cool to have him here, of course, with Central Welding Supply and Jefferson Racing. Then, like we just said, we just showed you Ken Twait's Camaro, Chris Evans, Jim Guthrie, and a Ford, but what would it be without the big three? Because we've got Mopar over here with Ken Sutherland and Kahlberg Racing. Kurt's talking to him right now. But I just love the look of these Challengers. Always loved them, and they were with us in TA2. Ken Sutherland is a champion in everything. Great Miata driver, Cobras, Corvettes, TA2. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you're going to have some fun out there.
Oh, yeah, looking forward to it. Just should be fun.
Nice. And you got to check out that mustache. That's a great mustache for racing right there with Ken Sutherland. Emma, his daughter, if you're watching, your dad's going to be awesome out there. We miss you here. Emma's always one of our favorite photographers here on the race circuit. But now we're going to walk over to Grid, if you don't mind, which is just over here on the other side of the mission truck. That Mini Cooper you saw there is not in the Trans Am Series, but a really cool car. That car could have run in the Trans Am Series back from 66 to 72. Legally, but we're going to come back here around the mission and come up here to the front of the grid. And we're coming around here around the mission truck. We've got a great grid to go out with Trans Am. So this group here is TA Cup, XGT, SGT, and GT. I see Amy Ruin, David Pinterick have come up to the grid. The cars are moving into place. It's going to be really loud back here, which is always my favorite. They're getting into position. The drivers are out of the cars talking. I'm sure they've been watching the conditions out there because they're seeing a drier line come in, and of course, probably like they should, everybody's going out on regular Pirellis. I'm walking up to David Pinterick, and we've got some questions for him. But we're with David Pinterick here. And David, you haven't been to Sonoma. You didn't show up to driver's meeting, and I hear you're having to start from the back, huh?
Paying my penance by starting in the back of the pack, and that's fine. You know, the rules are the rule. So I'll have fun, I guess, and see if I can pick them off and hope for a full course yellow.
You got to get a shot of this beautiful livery here. David finished on the podium here with us at Road Atlanta just a few weeks ago. I apologize. I was supposed to give you one of our golf carts for the track walk, but I hope you got out on the track.
Didn't I can get a chance to. No, you know, when we got rained out the last two sessions, I just went home, went back to the hotel, grabbed some pizza and relaxed and thought about how I'm going to do today. We'll figure it out.
Any sponsors you want to talk about?
Carter Racing, the people that support me, you know, Matt and Colton and Eric and Brent, who's not here, and Sandy and Reed, and then of course my mom. Excuse me, my wife, my daughter, my son-in-law. It's good to have their support. Yeah.
What is this that I'm seeing here on your windshield? Is that some kind of rain protection?
It's a tear off. So that the stone chips hit the tear off, and we can pull it off. And you got like 4 or 5 layers there. You know, pull it off so it doesn't. You don't have to replace a windshield.
Nice. Well, Pinterick, have fun out there. Sonoma is such a great track. We've had some unbelievable performances here in the Trans Am class with Chris Dyson won here a few years ago. Then his kind of almost godfather, Greg Pickett, he broke a record. He won in 6 different decades here in the Trans Am Series just a few years ago at Sonoma. How amazing is that? Andy Lally, we got to talk about that later in the broadcast. 6 different decades Greg Pickett has won in the Trans Am Series. Speaking of, here comes that Jim Weed car of Chris Dyson being towed up to the front of the line. I don't know if the crew has any Jim Weed on them, but we could use some energy here. McNichols Metal Service Center, Valley Automotive, Amy Ruman out here ready to talk to some people. This car looks awesome. It's a long tow for the Ruman family to come out here. Thanks for joining us.
It is. We're happy to be here. Still learning the track a little bit, and then we got 2 sessions rained out, so we're hoping to come up through the pack a little bit today, and since qualifying was set by our practice times, but we made a lot of changes, so we're going to see what happens today, and hopefully we'll get this baby up front.
Well, Amy, thanks for joining us. Love that they came out here. We were talking to Ken earlier in the pits. John Moore, the cowboy, looking at this hat, just unbelievable. A JM Environmental, JM Racing. So John Moore, while you're buckling up, so you got to, I know that you're going to be running TA2 with us also. Your son was running TA2, but you've run in everything, but you just love these Cup cars, don't you?
Ben, I tell you what, it's everything you want a race car to be. It just gets it on, and it just gets your heart thumping. It's a good time. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Nice.
Great group of people, and beautiful race cars. And I mean, what more do you want on a rock and roll Sunday? Come on.
Yeah, what more do you want on a rock and roll Sunday? I agree wholeheartedly with John Moore, cowboy hat up there. We're seeing Adam Andretti come down through the grid right now. I'm going to come over and talk to Sheheen. Hey, we got to come over here and talk about your car because I got to brag on you. Unbelievable, the stuff that you've been through here, going through the last couple of days. Explain to everybody out there what you've gone through with this beautiful Arlick Lamborghini.
Well, definitely we got some electrical issues. The car doesn't have like a traction control, and the testing session was pretty slippery. So basically on the drag strip, it's even straight. You are just squeezing the throttle, the spin, and just back into the wall. So it happens. It's just you just be careful. So we got all the parts in the trailer, and just put it back together. And it's lucky the chassis is not bended. We did the IGT race in the morning just to make sure the car is good. The race. Yeah.
So will you have traction control for this race?
No traction control.
Oh, so I don't know. Maybe we need to put you in the TA class. That's crazy because the great thing about these cars and this huge engine and these modern cars in XGT is you have some traction control. So we've taken that away from you.
Well, we do have advanced aero, but this car is restricted for the FIA GT3. We only make like a 480 horsepower on the wheel, and I will be happy I have a 900 horsepower.
You're the only person I've ever heard say only 480 horsepower at the wheel. That's a lot of horsepower to me. Well, have fun out there. Thank you for all your hustle. We got to move up here to Menard because I'm hearing that Menard has had a morning, and we got to see what happened to him this morning because I guess some drama had happened. We've got a car coming up behind us here, so we got to make sure we don't get hit. I've got Travis Engen over here on my driver's right walking with me. Don't want to make contact with him either. But we're coming up here. This is a great crowd. So cool to see people hanging out, eating their Mission chips. I love it. Right by the Mission truck. But we're going to talk about, okay, I see Paul Menard here, so we're almost to him. Chris Dyson is also up here. So I'm just, right now I'm just kind of hanging out over here in what they're saying. But Paul Menard, if you don't mind, I'm hearing that you had quite a morning with some drama. What happened out there?
Yeah, a big morning. The weekend was really smooth up until this point, but yeah, liftgate broke, so we almost dropped the car off the back of the hauler. luckily Jared held the brake and the car didn't roll out. Then we had 2 cracked valve covers, so had 911 changing valve covers. We've had that issue a little bit the last 2 races, so our batch is a defective batch, so we got to obviously sort through that. But car's fast, it's wet, it's going to be an exciting start with one halfway dry groove. It's going to be an interesting start to the race, but it's just going to dry out as we go here. The sun's starting to dip out, so it's going to be a dry race at the end, but it's going to be interesting at the start.
Yeah, a little bit of tiptoeing happening here at the start. Johnny on the spot there, hitting that brake pedal to keep this coming off, because that would have been about a 8-foot fall off of the trailer, which would just be catastrophic. Obviously, historic track. You're going to see some TA cars maybe going out there and tiptoeing, but I'm going to send it up to you guys up in the booth.
All right, Ben, thank you. That is a crazy story with Paul Menard.
Insane. I walked over just after it happened, and like you said, the guy in the car, Jared, I think was his name, held the brake through all that craziness, and the other guys jumped off. Fortunately, nobody was hurt, but pretty wild start to the day for Paul.
Man. And great to see Chris Dyson back. Anxious to see what he could do here today.
I think, obviously, the 3 cars that we've got on screen right there, the 3, the 16, and the 17, are going to be battling it out. Obviously, we've got our Brett Cruz in the race here, too, along with Amy, Tommy, and Mr. Benterick.
It's going to be a great race. Stay with us. Plenty more coming your way with the Trans Am presented by Pirelli from Sonoma Raceway.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy to make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Looking live down onto the field of cars that are going to be rolling out onto the grid here shortly and forming up for our Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Main event of the weekend on this Sunday morning here in the wine country in Northern California. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be watching in from. And Andy, as we take a look at those 3 cars at the front, Paul Menard, former champion, strong competitor each and every week. Chris Dyson, multi-time champion, unbelievably competitive every week. And Adam Andretti, currently leading the points, hopefully wanting to become champion. And it sounds so simple, but oh boy is it not.
Man, to string a whole championship together, to get that championship, race to race, to be consistent, to win races, that's the ultimate driver dream here. I mean, we all want to win races. We've got some big-time race winners. Obviously, Paul Menard's won the Brickyard 400 here. He's won road races in NASCAR as well. He won Road America. Obviously, Chris has won on just about every Trans Am race here. Adam's a Trans Am winner, a multi-talented guy in multiple classes, TA2, Trans Am, lots of everything he's ever hopped in. He's been quick. So this is a great trio. But then right behind that, you look at one of the most popular, impressive young guns in this generation coming through here, Brent Cruz. He's definitely going to want to have something to say about this race once we get green here.
Well, speaking of Adam Andretti, we had an opportunity to sit down with him and learn a little bit more about the man who is currently leading the points, Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli.
Adam Andretti, I drive the top liner Chevrolet Camaro in the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. It feels amazing, but at the same time, it doesn't mean anything 2 races into the season. It's obviously a cool accomplishment. You get the great pit spot, and you get some of the perks that come along with being a points leader, but none of it matters until we're in COTA and we're at the banquet, and they're sitting there, and then you're the points leader. That's when it matters. So there was a lot of racing left to go, and that's what we're working towards, is to get to that goal of COTA and celebrating the ultimate celebration. Leading the points at any point in your career feels amazing. I mean, no one doesn't want to be the points leader. That's what we're striving to be. We've been consistent. You know, it's again only 2 races in, but the change from our past to now would be consistency and having a good start. Honestly, in my entire Trans Am career, I've never left Sebring with a decent finish when going for a championship. I've had some great finishes at Sebring, but it was always like one-off races, and I wasn't going for the championship that year. It seemed like every year I've gone for the championship, Sebring has put us behind the 8 ball right off the bat. And this year that wasn't the case. This year we were able to bring it home with a strong podium finish, and that has been really the game changer for us. When you start thinking about other teams and what they're going through, and you lose focus of what your own operation is doing. We're just heads down on what our own operation is. You have enough to deal with focusing on your own program than having to worry about anyone else's program, as nobody out there is worried about our program either. So it's the champions really put their heads down and focus on what they're doing and exit that outside noise. That outside noise doesn't mean anything. It's funny, and when everyone says I'd rather be chased than be the chaser, it's because they're not in that position, you know. So you always say because what we do here in our world of driving race cars is 90% psychological. So if you're somewhere wrong in that game that's going on between your ears, so you have to talk yourself up for that. For me, I just like to focus again on what we're doing, business as usual. We know what we have to do. We have to finish races first and foremost. And if we finish races with our pace and with the way that we perform, those finishes and those results should take care of themselves. After the California swing, we still have 2/3 of our races left. So you get into that last third of the races, then yes, maybe some of the mentality will change, but you got to be careful changing your mentality driving, because when you make those adjustments, it can create other errors because you're taking yourself out of your rhythm. You know, the rhythm of life and the rhythm of what you're doing, especially in our sport, is so important. So it's really a fine line, a fine balance that you have to be on at that point.
Adam Andretti currently leading the points, getting ready to stack a few more up in the category there here at Sonoma Raceway today. Maybe get to the top step of the podium. He's been second twice already this year. And Andy, I was doing a little thinking. You know, the Andretti name, of course, known worldwide for race wins and championships and a wide variety of racing machines. And I was thinking back, I think the last championship won by an Andretti in a significant series anywhere in the world would have been Michael in 1991 in the CART PPG IndyCar World Series back then. So if Adam can pull off a championship in Trans Am, that will be 34 years since Michael won the last significant title for the Andretti clan.
And I'm sure he feels every year of that pressure.
Oh,
that
you know he does.
Definitely something
you know he does.
He's been working for, and obviously both Adam, Claudio Burton, Top Liner, all the guys that are working hard to make that happen are keen to see him stand at the top of that podium for our banquet at the end of the year is the 2025 championship.
One of the things I love about the Trans Am Series by Pirelli is its association with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And almost every week we have some young fan visiting us at the races. And this weekend it was 14-year-old Chris, who has suffered from heart disease. He's had 3 open heart surgeries. The first one when he was just 1 week old. God bless you, Chris, and welcome to the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. We sure hope you've enjoyed your weekend here with us. We know we've loved having you. All right, let's go back down trackside. Here's Ben Sissel once again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with Holly. Holly is actually the PR person for the 2-5 challenge that we're going to see to deliver the driver start command. Holly, take it away.
Driver, start your engine!
Holly is my new favorite command person.
That was the best command
awesome.
we've had all year. That was excellent. She definitely had the energy. We should bring her back.
She crushed it. Outstanding work, Holly. She's got a future in this sport, doesn't she?
I think so, without a doubt. She looks pretty amped up. We got to get her some gear and get her in some Trans Am Q3 mission clothing there to make this definitely more official.
Well, we've had 2 races to our 2025 championship season for Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Let's take you back to Sebring, Florida, where we kicked it off in March. Traditional season opener for the Trans Am Series, just like it did back in 1966 at the famed airport circuit. Paul Menard right to the front, looked like he was going to be the guy to beat Andy, but there's this young kid named Brent Cruz who made an outstanding pass here and then walked away from the field.
And Brent has shown huge speed. Obviously, the results haven't been there yet. He hasn't found his way to victory lane. Today could be that day. Obviously, we're taking a look at Chris Dyson's crazy crash here. Thankfully, he was okay. These cars are safe, and he was able to rebound from that. Took 1 race off, but he's back with us here. Was fastest in practice, and another guy looking for his first win of the season.
Cruz eventually had mechanical issues heading into Mission Foods Turn 7, and Menard was back to the front, but look who was on his tail. Adam Andretti, who chased him along with Amy Ruman all the way to the checkered flag. That would be our podium as we closed out the season opener at Sebring. Then it was on to Road Atlanta through the Georgia hillside. Brent Cruz on the pole, and as you mentioned, Chris Dyson not there, but Matt Brabham was filling in for him in the Jim Weed Mustang, and he did a tremendous job. Matty Brabham was very fast all weekend long, battling alongside Adam Andretti here, the Mustang versus the Camaro. Put on a whale of a show. Eventually, Matt got out front. Cruz, who had been leading, once again suffered mechanical problems. His day was over. Everybody starts to cycle through as Cruz hops over the wall.
Definitely
and then
a tricky
it
day
would
there,
be
heartbreaking.
Mossad having issues here in his 21. Grant having issues in the 7, the team car to Dreesy. Paul Menard got back out into the lead with Cruz going out, and he goes off track. His day is done. That was with just 3 laps to go. Shocking result for him. Again, checkered flag falls. Brabham takes the win. Adam Andretti finishes 2nd, and 2 seconds puts him atop the points as we headed to the West Coast and ready to go racing here today. So the field is now rolled away from the grid and warming up out on the racetrack.
We're doing something a little unique today since we've got this damn track and we've got a lot of these guys on sticker tires because we didn't have qualifying. These guys need 1 extra lap we're giving them. they asked for a lot more, but we're letting them have 1 pretty hot first lap here, and we're going to add 1 additional lap to our pace laps here, so it'll be 3 laps to get these guys comfortably up to temperature. That'll let the TA class, the TA Cup class, our SGT, GT, and XGT classes get everything hot, get everything all sorted out so that we can take a safer green than if we just threw these guys out here for 2 slow ones and drop the rag and watch them fly into turn 1 about 100 degrees cooler than they normally are in their tires.
Let's take a look at this very challenging Sonoma Raceway with our track map here. Get this one underway. You head through the left-hander turn 1, start to climb up through Mission turn 2, over to 3 and 3A, the highest point on the racetrack. As you crest the hill at 3A, it's 160 feet, down to the separator at 4, through 5 up over the rise to the never-ending left-hander known as the carousel, to the far north end of the racetrack. Then it's Summit Racing Equipment turn 7. Then, Andy, you got to find your rhythm as you blast down through the Cube 3 architecture S's.
And we pick up the speed all the way downhill through the S's here. Very tricky, especially as we're still having drying situations. Every minute that goes by, we're getting a little bit quicker. Down through turn 10 and into the tight turn 11 before we head off on here on the gas, spinning the tires back to the checker flag.
Turn 7 at the north end, turn 11 at the south end, probably the 2 best passing opportunities on this racetrack.
And I tell you, that track map is great. I love the visuals that we get, but nothing does this justice as until you're in the driver's seat, turning into turn 1 and see the elevation change as you climb up that hill and feel the grip as the car loads into that hill, gets light over turn 2, and then you repeat the same process in turn 3, and then like you said, the never-ending carousel there. It's a wild over the crest. You feel the car get light, land, you've got big slip angle, and then you're teasing it for 4, 5, 6 seconds, trying to get back to power and lunge back up the back straightaway to our summit point turn 7 there.
And that corner just keeps falling away from you too, as you just when you think you got it figured out, there's more to it. And you're, oh no.
When you're really on the edge there, your stomach's getting light because you're floating the thing in there. You really don't have that much weight on the contact patch on these Pirellis, and it's difficult. It's definitely one of the trickier negotiating corners in North America.
Very technical racetrack here at Sonoma. It looks big and wide and fast and all that, but it is very technical. Menard and Dyson up there in the front. Adam Andretti will start inside of row number 2 alongside of Brent Cruz in a new ride. He's debuting the Challenger here this weekend.
He is with Weaver. That has proven to be a quick car on the tracks that have big, long straightaways. You know, this weekend they've gone from the 4-speed to the 5-speed sequential. So Brent's obviously got a little better option, a little more maneuverability in the cockpit. When you've got an H pattern compared to a sequential, you could take a little bit of your bandwidth away from your focus of just getting that exactly right and you know, put that to your driving, put that to what that tire's feeling like, your brake zones, what you're recalling here and there. And that's what happens a ton around this racetrack in particular, because there's so much going on when you've got changing conditions, when you've got these elevation changes. And with these guys starting on stickers, this is quite a different feel from them from normal, where they normally start on what they qualify on.
Yeah, looking back through the field all the way back to David Paterick, who is tagging the back end of the field, having missed the driver's meeting, as you heard him explain to Ben earlier in the show.
Yeah, that's a tough penalty. Unfortunate for David. He made the tow all the way out here, but he'll have a challenging race ahead of him, and I think his attitude's proper. He said, you know, that's the rules. That's what happened. We'll deal with it and try to come forward and make the most of it.
Getting a look at John Moore in the 27. Looks like they got the tire fixed on the Ginetta safety car.
Even that, you know, that's not a super easy car to drive around in these conditions like this. So our pace car drivers got to be up and ready to, on the wheel and ready to go here as we come through turn 9, coming through 10. Drivers can't scuff their tires past the apex of 10 here. Pace car is going to be coming in, and we get to go racing in the Trans Am Series.
Keeping an eye on the Ginetta safety car. The lights are out. Pit lane is right there. He exits, and we are ready to go racing. Paul Menard on the pole. Chris Dyson back here racing with us in his Jim Weed Mustang on the inside. Adam Andretti, the points leader, and Brent Cruz right behind him in row 2. This is going to be a great one here at Sonoma Raceway. The track is drying, the cars are ready, and we are set to thunder into the hills. Green flag is out, and we're racing here with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Up through turn 1, headed up to Mission Foods, turn number 2, already there. And it's Menard out front, Andretti right alongside of Dyson.
You can see these cars just stepping out little by little as they're trying to get temp in these Pirelli tires, hauling through 3A and trying to get themselves sorted to get to single file. Dyson's making a charge, puts a nose in.
Looking inside at turn number 4, not going to get it done there. Menard is able to close the door on him as they head up and over the hill through 5 and down into the carousel now.
Little bit of argy-bargy coming through 4 there. Some cars touching wheels, rubbing fenders. Great shot of the cars coming out of the carousel here. You really see the approach and how much they're going to have to slow down here coming to our summit point, turn 7 here.
Big double apex corner. Get one right, then you got to get the other one. Now you're working your way down through the Cube 3 Architecture S's. How much speed can you carry through all of here? That's the key.
It's big speed, it's big G loads, and the trickiest person, the toughest job here right now, it's nice having nobody out your front windshield, but Paul Menard is feeling this car out, and he's the one that's got to test the waters. Chris can go a foot deeper, 2 feet deeper, play around. He's got the easier job of just creeping up on that leader. Same thing. Adam's evaluating what those guys are doing. Brent obviously doing the same thing. And these guys just keep feeding off the next guy in front of him. Did his tail wag a little bit on the entry to that corner? If not, I'm going to take it a little deeper. And these are split-second reactions to making those lunges and closing those gaps.
Menard looked not as good as Dyson under the brakes at turn 11, but I'll tell you what, going up the hill, carrying the speed through 1, that was all Paul Menard. He gapped him by a car length.
Absolutely, and there's 2 different things going on there. Paul, as much of a seasoned vet as he is, if he's not being challenged at that point, he can take a lap, 2 laps, learn a little bit. As long as Dyson's not able to stick that nose there and make that charge, he's kind of content. Hey, I got the lead. I don't need to overdrive and drive myself off the track here. I'm good to go. But when we get to the fast stuff and Paul's got it down, now Chris is getting a little arrow. He's getting a little wake there, so it's not as easy to keep that front end down with the downforce being taken away from the turbulence.
I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but did you see Menard dipped a wheel coming through 4, headed to 5, kicked up a little spray and splashed the windshield on Dyson.
Threw a little mud on his window.
This level of excellence, you can do things like that to throw your competitor off.
You can see your little spot here. We used to always do that at Sebring at the exit of turn 13. There'd be a little mud puddle. Wouldn't hurt the car too bad, but that tear off, that clean tear off a lap ago that Chris could see real nice out of, there's a little blur across that now.
Hey, and at this level of competition, a 10th gained here or there could be an eternity, right?
Some mind games that you're playing with the guys, just going and messing with his windshield, definitely could either, put him on the limiter a little bit, force him to make his own mistake, or, just put a little blind spot right in that windshield there.
And these top 5 cars are just stuck together here. Menard, Dyson, Andretti, Cruz, and Tommy Dreese. This is going to be an outstanding fight here today at Sonoma Raceway.
And man, big shout out to our drone guy here. We don't get these shots, and I don't care what series it is. That is excellent. I want to see that every lap right here. Super exciting as we get a real taste of the speed and what these guys are going through here in the Trans Am Series.
And we've been waiting to see what Brent Cruz is going to do with this new Challenger. Such a great looking car. He has had such incredible speed this year, just not the mechanical luck. So I don't know if he's a little down on the speed this weekend or if he's just playing it a little bit safe, trying to make sure he gets to the end of this thing and then make his charge.
This is one of the most mature 16-year-olds you're ever going to meet in his life, in your life. And he knows he's got 100 miles. He can assess, see what these guys are doing. I think he's got the confidence in himself and his own speed here that he can push, learn, evaluate, get the first 50 miles under his belt. Although I think he's quick enough that he wants to go forward, but he'll reevaluate and go after it for that win in the last 50 miles.
And he's pulling Tommy Dreese right along with him in the trench shoring number 8. There goes Adam Andretti, thundering back up into the hills, and Mission Foods turn number 2, stuck behind Dyson's Jim Weed Mustang.
This is when you've got corners so diverse as Sonoma Raceway, you're going to see this rubber banding. You're going to see where 1 or 2 cars are strong in the tight stuff, and you're going to see where others get favored in the quick stuff. So you'll see this accordion effect throughout the lap. Obviously, I think Adam's a little bit better in the tight stuff and under braking, and we see him close in to Chris, and then Chris is able to pull away through some of the sweepers here. Obviously, Paul's got a nice cushion here. He can still keep learning, keep pushing, but now he's got enough that he doesn't have to worry about the dive bomb. He doesn't have to worry about an opportunistic moment from Chris off a stumble from him, and that lets Paul drive at 99.9% without having to take an extra risk to try to get away. Now, Chris, on the other hand, knows if he misses one beat here, that top liner Ford of Chevy,
no, Camaro, yeah, no, you're right.
of Andretti is going to be right on top of him. Sorry, guys, first time in the booth this year. I'm a little bit rusty.
Hey, you're the president. You can say anything you want.
Watch these guys, just the slip angle. We saw Cruz on that last lap.
Problems here for the 62 machine. That's Jim Guthrie at Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the Guthrie's Garage CEI Ford Mustang.
He had quite an eventful event yesterday in the TA2 class. I think he's up and going there. Might have missed the corner and just opted to go around there. Hopefully no mechanical. I can see him out the window here.
He's running in our TA Cup category. Oh, car in front smoking him up pretty. Oh, boy, he got up over the curbing.
That
and
was
into
a
the
crazy
92 of
situation.
Chris Evans.
We obviously saw the car that locked up. The next car behind it moved to the middle. I don't think Guthrie was anticipating that, moved even more right to where it's still more damp. Obviously hopped that curb, and we hope he can keep it together here. I can see him out the window. It looks like it's going at a pretty good clip here.
And that was a battling category.
That was our TA Cup class.
Yeah,
what an amazing class we've got here. I couldn't get the number on
Evans, and then Guthrie ran into Evans, right? So they're running 12th, 13th, and 14th overall, and they were running 3rd, 4th, and 5th in class.
That's the battle for the podium, the final trophy given to our TA Cup class. This is the first time they're racing on the national portion of our Trans Am series. A really cool class.
Look at the speed Dreese is running down here through turn 10, through 9. You see just in front of him, Brent Cruz dip a wheel there into that puddle, kick up a little mist into the air. Tommy has to deal with in his trench shoring Motul back number 8.
I love how when you're watching the speedometer in these cars, the 3rd digit isn't even legible. It's just flying up through, and even that middle digit, it's 120, 130, 140, and it's going like you're still in first gear. This thing just keeps on pulling.
Well, you get there in a hurry too, don't you?
Yes, incredibly fast. These guys have to have their reactions on point and their marks. They've got to be consistent with where they're braking, where they're getting on the gas. It's always imperative when you add that much horsepower to the mix. Love these drone shots here.
I really like Adam Andretti's approach to the championship this year. As we heard in that interview, he said, you know, once we get through this California swing, we still have a lot of racing to go. He sees the big picture. He understands this is not going to be an easy title for him to win.
Oh, without a doubt. And, you know, most of these guys, if they're doing it right, they are thinking big picture. They want every single individual result to be best they can, but in the moment when it gets absolutely crazy and there's a decision to be made to make the low percentage move, or let's save this and maybe I've got them another 10 miles now, 20 miles to go in the race, there's time. There's potentially a better spot than trying to jump on a low percentage pass. That's where the championships are made. That's where the champions get their reputation from doing the right move at the right time, not trying to be opportunistic on every open door.
Champions maximize their good days and minimize their bad days. And Adam has done that so far this year, while other preseason title favorites had issues. Dyson at Sebring, Menard at Road Atlanta. Adam was right there each and every weekend. Second place on the podium, both rounds. Comes in here looking strong in the points, sitting third now again in a podium position. You keep clicking off those podiums, you're going to be right there at the end of the year. Because you know Dyson and Menard and Cruz are going to find their rhythm before the year is out. They're going to get their wins, but Adam can as well.
Another guy here, Tommy Dreese, that we're on board with, our Trent Shoring Company, our TA class hot shoe here. He's got a ton of experience in this. Was one of the most consistent guys last year. You know, he was third in the championship, I think, but had the most consistent finishes of everybody, where our champion and our second place driver both had some low point days. Tommy was super consistent all the way through here.
Watching Michelle Nagy here, and she is leading in our TA Cup class.
And leading by a good chunk. She's been incredibly impressive through practice all the way through from the first test day on. She threw down and was trying to send notice that this is the race she wants to win, and she's out front and going away.
Well, she's from Newcastle, California, so it's one of two home races for her. The Nagy Racing Berkeley Jet Drive Chevy Camaro.
These cars are neat. So to talk about TA Cup real quick, these are basically Xfinity motors, NASCAR Xfinity motors they're restricted down. I say down. They still have over 600 horsepower. It's essentially very close to what a TA2 chassis is, very similar TA2 bodywork, but we've put the engine on steroids and turned it up another 100 plus horsepower here. So a lot of fun to fly around here. Still, again, on our Pirelli tires, and you can see as Michelle's negotiating the entry to the carousel there, the back end stepping out. Really good-looking car there.
This is Amy Ruman, and David Pinterick just got around her. They came by here, the start-finish line, just nose to tail. David was really putting the pressure on, and Amy succumbed to it and gave up the position. So Pinterick now moves to 8th. And Amy will slip back to 9th. That's overall. They are 6th and 7th in Trans Am right now.
Amy already with the podium this year. She opened up the season with a podium at Sebring. Very strong performance, very close to the point. I think she's 4th in the points maybe. I know it's really tight there through 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Obviously wants a strong run today, thinking about the finish here. That McNichols Corvette, I've been friends with the Rumans for just about 30 years now. I've known the family for a long, long time, and obviously super fast and really strong racers.
And Andy, that's Joshua Carlson from Princeton, Iowa, and the number 36. That's our SGT category leader in the Enceva Dirks Limited TC Fab Ford Mustang.
It comes from a great racing family. As he's the grandson of a short track legend, Joe Shear. Joe Shear Jr., obviously a NASCAR crew chief from back in the day. Nick Carlson, Steve Carlson, another family where the lineage is there. And Josh has been doing super good. Has a checkered flag in this series already, and is our strongest contender in this class.
As somebody who called a tremendous amount of ASA stock car races over the years, you get in the Midwest and you mention Carlson or Shear names, you own everywhere you go.
So what you're saying is he's got some good people to lean on and learn from and come up through the ranks here.
He brings the same kind of Midwest stock car legacy to his last name that Adam Andretti brings with his. It's literally in that part of the country, in that type of racing, that's what you're talking about. David Pinterick, love the look of this car. Ben talked about the livery on that car. Very good looking race car. Here's Chris Coffey. Now Coffey is our GT leader out of Murphy, Texas. The Norwood Auto Italia Traffic Graphics Maserati MC GT4.
And he's doing a great job. Obviously, I think probably the most GT wins ever in the Trans Am Series. His teammate Colin Cohen partnered with him also this weekend. They are, so Norwood Auto Italia, they service Maseratis, Ferraris, Aston Martins, just one of the best in the business there. And Coffee is obviously hands-on in that deal, and always our front runner here in the GT class.
Back on board the trench shoring machine of Tommy Dreesy. Folks at Motul helping him out as well. As Tommy's headed up to the far north end of the racetrack. Summit, turn 7.
I love these onboards here. I could sit here all day with this. As we ride with Tommy through these S's get more and more difficult as we get going. Obviously, as the speed picks up, but these last two, this right-hander's blind. As you come over the crest, you sort of spot the media center, put your foot down, and that's your reference before you actually see the track out here.
This fight continues between Dyson and Andretti for second place, and Cruz staying right with him. Menard ran at 2:35.589. Dyson at 2:34. He's 2.6 seconds back behind Menard, and then Adam another tick of the clock, 1 second further back behind Chris Dyson, and Cruz right there with him.
Now, obviously, it looks like they've spread out a little bit, and they have, but that time gap is virtually nothing here. So any little mistake from these guys, which is so easy. We're seeing we're probably 90% dry here, but every time when you tune into these onboards here, we can see on the inside or the outside there's still a little damp spot. You hang up a right front tire, miss that apex a little bit, and that guy behind you is going to be right on top of you, and we're going to have that battle ensue again.
And I promise you, if you dip a wheel into the grass anywhere around here, it's going to be awfully wet.
Yes, for as grippy as the dry part of the asphalt is now, you drop a wheel, I guarantee you that's mud. You're going for a ride for quite a while.
Paul Menard's Pittsburgh Paints Ford Mustang has dominated this one. The driver out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, Pittsburgh Paints Menard's Ford Mustang. He's led every lap so far here today. The Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli from Sonoma Raceway. That car has such a great looking stance to it, doesn't it?
It does. Gentilozzi and the crew do a really nice job of getting that car prepared. Boy, they had that last minute trouble that Ben was referencing in on pit lane there. Knock on wood, they've done a great job of getting that thing out and obviously letting it lead and come away from the field here. Great paint scheme too.
Taking a look at our MCO Gears total laps led, Paul Menard 11 laps in front of the field so far here today, working his 12th right now.
What a cool view this is. What an amazing shot.
I don't know how these drone pilot kids do this. I really don't.
I mean, I'm a little dizzy right now.
Yeah.
I know, he's got to have line of sight for this, so he's up on the hill. He's got the goggles on.
He's got the VR goggles going,
and he's
just
flying
playing
right
the
through
video
there.
game, yeah.
Such a neat deal here.
So Andy, since I got the new president of the series in my grasp, I got to take advantage of the time to get a few questions out there that maybe the fans are wondering as we continue to watch Paul Menard now on board with Chris Dyson and his Jim Weed machine blasting down through the Cube 3 Architecture S's. Ben and I were talking about the great calendar that we have for Trans Am this year, and that we're seeing basically all of the top road racing circuits throughout the U.S. and into Canada with Canadian Tire Motorsports Park as well. But Trans Am raced on street circuits back in the day. Any chance we'll be getting added to the calendar of a street circuit sometime soon?
I don't know if you're baiting me for something that we're working on right now, but
well, I know nothing, so this is strictly a fan asking.
So as a fan answering, I can say I would love to see them back. I would love to, the heritage, obviously the history of what Trans Am was doing in their early years and what we've done in the recent past. I want to see more of it. I can say that. I can say that there's definitely talks and we're definitely trying to make things happen.
Well, that's exciting to hear.
Another look at Guthrie's Garage. Little donut on the door there from some earlier contact, and we've got the 92 and the 62 still going at it there. That's our fourth place spot right there. We've got Ken Twaits that's pulled away a little bit and gapped him. Obviously got a little bit of a comfortable spot here as he tries to secure a podium here at the Nationals. But these guys are obviously still fighting, still going at it.
And you know, that was something we haven't talked about yet. I just saw there. There's a dip as you come out of 10 and you run that short chute down to 11. There's a little dip just before you get on the brakes to get into 11.
It's actually a big dip. So visually, even when you're standing there, it looks like a little dip. It is where everybody brakes. So whether you've got a NASCAR Cup car or you've got, you know, maybe everything short of maybe an Indy car, you're braking right at that compression because you can have huge pressure right at the load there. You know, the shocks compress, the splitter gets low. Oh, we've got a pass.
Here we go.
That's our
62.
fourth place pass.
Yep.
Great run by
Guthrie.
Yes, by Guthrie coming getting to the power out of 3A, getting over the crest of that hill, put the nose inside, made a nice clean pass on Evans, and he tried to gather it up, hold that outside, but was unable to. Obviously, again, we're still a little damp out there. We saw him turn in and wiggle, but now Guthrie's got his sights set on Twaits. Here we go.
That was for 4th in class and 12th overall.
So
and then
now
Thwaites right there in front of him holds down the final podium position in this category.
And that's Josh Carlson just in front of him,
yep.
our SGT leader.
Yep, and then it's Amy Ruman and Pinteric in front of that before you get to the top 2 in our TA Cup category.
Again, we haven't checked in a while, but Michelle Nagy's got about a 5.5 second lead over Sutherland as our podium battle heats up for our TA Cup class. I love seeing the turnout that we've got for our TA Cup class, hoping this is a class that can grow in the future here and we can increase our representation and have this become one of the stronger classes in this series. I think there's a ton of potential for it because you've got a lot of bang for the buck here. You know, this is a much more economically friendly car to race in the Trans Am series while still having that kind of power. As we see Menard taking a couple of chances on the outside of turn 1 here around Mr. Wang, and Chris obviously pushing hard there too. We're seeing the tires go off and the slipping and sliding begin as these guys realize the importance of getting through lap traffic as quickly as possible, because in these tight corners, these Trans Am cars that can break deep and come off the corner hard want to be able to get by the slower GT cars. Not that Lamborghini is very slow, but these Trans Am cars really haul the mail through here.
How about manufacturers, Andy? How are we looking on the manufacturer side of the series? Any new conversations happening there?
I'm trying to open up every conversation. I want all the OEMs in here. I want to increase that interest, have them on board here. We celebrated Toyota's second victory in a row here for the Trans Am series. Obviously, we've got a Mustang leading the show here. Camaro's GM on board here. So we watched some crazy Dyson over the crest of the hill here. So for the future of this series, I think it's important. I love the fact that right now we've got some OEMs that are putting young drivers in cars in our TA2 class, and I think that's super important, super special. For a company, obviously, I want them to be involved in the series, but I love the fact that they're getting behind drivers right now.
Well, that's great to hear.
Maceo's neck, you can see she's putting that right front just on the paint, just on the curb. Probably still doesn't want to be too much on the paint on a lot of these curbs because the paint obviously not too sponge-like, not going to suck up a lot of this water. That water will sit on top of the painted surfaces, and you're not going to want to be right on it. We could see the weepers right on the edge where the crack is between the concrete and the asphalt. And you want to stay away from that, obviously. And we're seeing Chris Dyson do that as he pushes, trying to get that Jim Weed Ford back to the front here and put some pressure on Menard. 2.4 seconds back as he has taken over. We have a new third-place car, Cruz. Not sure if we had a mistake from Adam. He dropped back a little bit. Maybe his tires are going off. But at the moment right now, our fastest car on track on that last lap by a second was Cruz. Now in our third place overall position on the final podium spot for Trans Am, and trying to close that gap to Chris Dyson and get this thing moving.
Dyson in his Jim Weed number 16 started the season for the second year in a row with a very frustrating and big crash at Sebring, put him back behind the 8 ball in the points once again. Then he had to miss Road Atlanta this year, and now he's back racing with us. So you know there's a lot of pent-up energy inside that Jim Weed 16 here today.
It's tough to start the season behind the 8 ball like that. You start to consolidate your feelings of whether there's a hope for a championship still or not. Am I just going to go for race wins, or are we going to buckle down, think big picture, and see if we can nibble away at the loss that we had at our first race of the season? Look at the tire marks coming off of Cruz, and he's bottoming out there a little bit. We see some sparks. Obviously, Poncho Weaver setting up a good car, getting it as low as they can go, soft as they can, getting that CG low as they run through the elevation changes at Sonoma Raceway. That car is flying. He's on it, obviously on a mission.
And Cruz has gotten around Adam Andretti, so that puts Brent up into third. Adam's behind him in fourth now. So maybe Cruz is starting to turn the heat up a little bit with his Challenger, which I love seeing the Challenger back in the series.
Absolutely. And our TA2 winner from yesterday, obviously now in podium contention here. It doesn't happen too often. It'd be good to get the stats guy on this. How many people have podiumed in both TA2 and TA in the same weekend? Brent took his Toyota from Nitro Motorsports to the victory yesterday in a mayhem-filled race. I'm going to be yelling at some TA2 drivers come Laguna Seca drivers meeting here. We got to get these kids head on straight. And not just kids, some of our older guys too. It's a good mix of everybody that was a little bit too enthusiastic when we took the green flag yesterday. But obviously
yell at Mother Nature while
too.
You're at it.
And we'll yell at Mother Nature. We literally mixing oil and water at the end of the race yesterday with blown engines and a little rainstorm coming through, giving our guys some perfect storm of tricky conditions here as we see this drone shot get
Look at Andretti
closing in.
He's
and Brent
right
Cruz
there.
getting defensive. Maybe Brent's been on the gas a little too hard and sliding that car around. Adam's been pacing that thing, and now he's got something for him.
Looking inside, going into the carousel. Adam's right there. Cruz drifts wide, and Andretti comes through to retake third.
What a move. Great job here, and the timing couldn't be any better. If Andretti can put a lapped car now between them, and he does. Smart move by the 12 car here.
J.D. Coos out of Murrieta, California.
Very heads up
Douglas
there.
designed Porsche GT3 Cup 991.
We didn't get a chance to focus a lot too much on JD, but obviously a heads-up guy. Still flying around here in a really fast Porsche, but again, these TA cars are flying. Adam was hoping he could get inside and then have the door closed, and so he could build up a gap here, and that's kind of what's happened here.
Here's the replay you see coming down through the carousel. Adam just played it perfectly. Cruz carried a little too much speed down into the carousel, pushed up a little bit, and that opened the door, and Adam just roared through. Now he's gapping him a little bit.
Adam was setting that up 4 corners before that. He could see the slide. Brent was trying to be a little defensive, as I would be too, and you could tell the rear end is just coming off of Cruz's car.
Look at all the traffic now in front of Adam, so he's got to get through these guys real quick to keep that gap of a full second between him and Cruz, and he gets hung up right there at the top of 3A, and Cruz is closing in. Down to the separator at 4. Adam gets around the 92 of Evans. Oh, and he has another one get loose just in front of him. That's the kind of thing that could be real sketchy, because if he's struggling to gather that car up, that was the 7
Rudy
SGT
Revick.
car of Rudy Revick.
Singular is the sponsor on that car. It's an old ASA car. That is hard car to drive around here. Very, very tricky. Not a lot of downforce. Nowhere near the wing and the splitter that these guys have on the other side here. Adam doing a great job building that gap.
And look at Cruz got hung up with all that traffic. Adam got through there, played it out perfectly. He's pulling away, and you'll see Cruz is still hung up back there in the traffic.
And that's letting Dreesy now close up to the back of Cruz. And we're going to have a battle for 4th place here again as Dreese in 5th trying to come through here.
Tommy is on the charge.
You know, I'm seeing these sparks. I'm seeing these sparks from Cruz. It's like they went a little bit too low, ran a little bit soft, or he's got a problem. Maybe there's a sway bar unhooked or something. I'm not sure, but these cars will touch around the track, but that's a lot. That's a little bit more than I think he's wanting to, and he's probably dealing with that on top of the rear tires going off, and Dreese able to keep his Pirellis a little bit cooler and get to the back of Cruz now.
Tommy was approaching 140 miles an hour as he banked it to the left to head up the hill at turn 1. That is a very sketchy corner, isn't it? Turn 1.
It is so difficult to have the guts to drive and keep your foot in there, because when you turn in, you know you don't have that grip, and you're waiting for that compression of that hill.
And you're looking right at the hillside.
Exactly, and you're wanting to get there. You're wanting to feel that compression, because that's when the grip is going to load up. That's when the big load comes. That's when the car squats down and the load gets to the tire and really gives you that grip you need to make the rest of that corner. So you're winging it every time in there. You know where you need to place it, but boy, is that a tricky thing to do lap after lap.
I was talking about it yesterday. I remember watching Bob Wollek have just a horrific crash in a 962 Porsche here one year in an IMSA race. That corner can just vaporize a race car if you get a little out of shape.
Looking back toward the front of the field here, Dyson has closed it down to with almost exactly a second of Menard. So did Menard run out and take off and burn his stuff up, or is he chilling out now? Did Dyson find a new line? Is the setup that different that we've got a better long run from Chris and a better short run from Paul? We're going to find out here real shortly as that gap keeps closing.
Well, we're inside that final 50 miles that you were talking about with about 19 laps remaining. So if those guys ease the pace off in that middle bit, now it's time to get after it, and they all seem to be getting the elbows up and sharp.
100 miles doesn't seem like maybe that long for your conventional race, but there's a lot that goes on with what the balance of these cars go through in that 100 miles. So if you've got a place where you've got a lot of high G corners and a lot of grip, you're going to see those lap times fall off in any kind of car, any kind of tire. So right now we're seeing it. Chris is there and he's closing, and we're going to have a battle for the lead here.
Yep, I think 100 miles is just a perfect distance. It's just far enough where the car is really going to change. You're going to burn up fuel. You're going to use up your brakes and tires. You're going to have to adjust. How did you dial the car up, and do you physically as a driver have everything left to get up on the wheel at the end of that 100 and really hustle it to the finish?
Yeah, there is no like turn this race on, take a nap for an hour, and tune in with 100 miles to go and see who's left. This is go. From the green flag, you get on the gas and you go. Chris now closing in with 0.6 now. Took another 0.4 off that lap.
He's right there. No cruising and coasting in this one. You can see Dyson doesn't get off the corner as well as Menard does. They came up over Mission Foods turn 2. See what he does here at the top of 3A. Gets up on the rumble strips a little bit. Not as bad there, but it looks like the back end broke loose a little bit on him.
Definitely closing in a little bit on the off-camber corners. And we see on the transitions, Chris's chassis able to turn there. That might be a sign of the balance. That might be a sign of the rear tires going off. Could be a sign of the setup. Again, you know, every one of these guys, there's so many variables here. Paul obviously pulls really well off of the bottom of the carousel here, and Chris is able to close up a little more in the accordion effect that we talk about, where we see these cars stretch out and close down. The time gap often remains the same, but as that speed changes, there's this illusion that Chris will maybe make up a ton of ground under braking. We can see that he's doing that, but it's probably not as much as everybody thinks on TV here. That accordion effect, the time stays super similar, and it's tough to spot where they're really making gains here, but obviously this is tricky as we got Chris Coffey in the pits here. We just saw that out of the corner of our screen.
I do think Chris Dyson is better under braking, especially in the tighter corners like 11 and 7.
I'm with you there, absolutely.
It is the Pittsburgh Paints Menard's Ford Mustang of Eau Claire, Wisconsin's Paul Menard that has led every lap here so far today at Sonoma Raceway. As we get down to 17 laps remaining, And Chris Dyson in that Jimweed Ford Mustang has been stuck right to his tail. The driver out of Poughkeepsie, New York, ready to battle for the checkers here at Sonoma Raceway.
We just saw again, this is like the third lap in a row that Chris has really struggled off a 2. So as it crests the hill and he comes up over, whether there's too much rebound, lack of rebound, I'm not sure what it is, but he's having real trouble cresting the hill and getting that power down. And same thing coming down the hill here.
Adam Andretti still sits in third, and you're on board in the lower right portion of the screen with Tommy Treacy, who runs in fourth, and Brent Cruz has slipped back to fifth now.
Boy, we've got a new fourth place finisher. Brent is obviously in some sort of trouble here as the gap is quite large now. I don't know if he had a mistake. Still turning fairly quick.
Oh, he's on pit road.
Oh, pit road.
That's why.
And we're going for a tire. I'm not sure. A flat right front.
Yeah, it sure looks like it. Wonder if that was a slow leak and he was dealing with that.
Quite possibly. That's why we were seeing the sparks go there, but he was just trying to drive through it, hoping we can either get a caution or just praying that it'd be a much slower leak.
Yeah, that's Pinteric, who runs 7th overall and 6th in the Trans Am category.
New Pirelli P0 tire going on here. I'm going to guess that he had a puncture on the track, probably ran over a little piece of carbon or metal or something like that. Our Pirelli P0s are super strong.
While I got you here, thanks a lot for letting us stick those Speed Sport 1 stickers on everybody's car. Love them.
Good deal. That looks good. Some high dollar sponsorship.
That's right.
TV time right there.
And of course, Speed Sport 1 will be the broadcast home for every Trans Am race presented by Pirelli this season. Live and free on all of our different platforms, so we hope you're tuned in and enjoying the coverage today.
We see John Moore and Rudy coming through the S's there, followed by Mr. Wang.
John Moore in that red machine there. John in the number 27 running TA Cup from nearby Roseville, California, a suburb of Sacramento, in the JM Environmental Ford Mustang. Back in 2022, we put John in the West Coast Stock Car Motorsports Hall of Fame right here at Sonoma Raceway. He's run in a wide variety of race cars throughout the West Coast, including NASCAR's Western Division back then, which is now part of the ARCA Menards Championship. He was also champion in All-American Speedway over in Roseville, California, and he was a partner there with legendary NASCAR owner from the West Coast, Bill McAnally. I know you know Bill.
Absolutely, and another legend in that name right there. Great seeing John on board here. Had a good pass on the 7 car into the hairpin there. They stayed 2 wide through 12 coming to start finish.
And you also know an old announcer from All-American Speedway in Roseville.
Is that Ralph Sheheen?
That would be me, yeah. And when I was doing that fresh out of college at Chico State, Bill McAnally was a street stock racer.
Oh, wow.
And now he's a top NASCAR team owner.
Absolutely. Running a strong effort there. Has always been running a strong effort there.
Yep.
Dominated the West Side and now nationally doing a really good job there.
So John, as soon as he crawls out of the car, will don his familiar cowboy hat and start telling stories as he does.
That's one of our TA Cup cars. Looking great. Those guys, there's a whole separate compound. Oh,
Nagy.
Our leader, now coming to pit lane. Does that mean Sutherland's our new?
Yes. Here's Michelle. Oh, she went off.
There was already some damage there.
That's a turn 4.
It looks like there was already some damage, so maybe that was lap traffic. We didn't get it on video here. We'll go looking for that.
There is the 85 car now, Ken Sutherland out of Sherwood, Oregon, the Kahlberg Racing Dodge Challenger, car number 85, which is our new leader now in the Trans Am Cup category. Michelle having her issues.
That gets Guthrie, who had the problem early, back up into our P2 spot.
Here's Michelle. Let's see if we can figure out what oh, she got into the Porsche, the number 12 of J.D. Coos in SGT, the driver out of Murrieta, California, that Nickel Douglas design Porsche GT3 Cup car.
When you run lots of different classes with so many different types of cars, you that's inevitable. Unfortunately, you're going to get different mixes of different kinds of grip and different places where those cars are strong. And obviously, there was a real estate dispute there, and Michelle came out, unfortunately, on the worst end of that.
They already got the hood ripped off, and she's back out on course, listed in 14th overall, and she is 6th in class.
That puts Ken Sutherland in TA Cup out front, Guthrie in P2, Evans and Thwaites now. I've been trying to pronounce Ken's name. He even helped me out there.
Dyson right there on Menard as they get around the Lambo. Here comes Chris looking inside as they go to 10. And he'll try to see maybe if he can make something happen under braking here at Cube 3 Architecture, turn number 11. He fakes the inside, look to the outside, and stays tucked behind Menard, but that gap well within a second now with traffic in front of them.
And some of what Chris is doing there into the hairpin is just mind games. He knows Menard's weak on the tire. He knows he's got the better setup now, and that's one of his strong points. So he wants to look. He wants to force a mistake. He might not even been meaning to pass there, but he wants to see if Paul will take the bait, throw that block, and not come off the corner is good. We've got another situation where lap traffic could come into play.
And this is where Menard's been very good, disposing of the lap traffic.
But that point, he got hung up there.
Oh, but look at the lapper comes down and holds up Dyson.
Big time there. Chris was, again, thinking big picture. He knows he can reel Paul back in here with the speed that he's got. Took the lift. Rudy probably wasn't sure exactly where Chris was or if he was coming through there. They both had cooler heads prevail there, fortunately, and we didn't wreck our TA race for the lead here. Chris is immediately back on him, so we know the 16 is the strong car.
Watch this from on board here with Dyson. You can see Menard's going to get through, and then watch the 7 come right back as they get to 5 right there. And in defense of Rudy, he's leading his category.
He's leading his category. It's damp offline. He's got probably one of the lowest downforce cars in the entire field. He doesn't want to go around the outside of turn 5.
No. He wants to get back online as quick as he can. So you got the big wreck here with Pineric and Adam Andretti at turn 10. David Pinteric and Adam Andretti get together at 10, and we have gone full course caution immediately.
I don't know how that started right there. Chris, something just fell off of Paul's car.
There was,
Chris ran it over.
A signboard that had gotten knocked out. That was a big hit in a very fast section of racetrack.
Waiting to see what happened here. Obviously a huge coming together with our points leader. This is going to shake things up.
Oh, big time. And now Dyson and Menard, who had suffered big points losses at the opening 2 rounds, are going to gain a ton of points back on Adam.
This is nobody wants to win this championship. Cruz leading, having
They're going
issues.
to keep it interesting.
Same thing with Paul, same thing with Chris, and now, unfortunately, we've got some really insane action
I see Adam
here,
getting
turn
out
10.
of. Is that Adam or Pinteric getting out of the car as we're looking
across? We don't have it on screen here, but Adam has popped the roof hatch, which is something Claudio Burton and the guys were working on installing in that car. Adam has gotten out and walked away. He's completely okay here. Safety is on scene, and we'll give you as much detail as we can as we find out here.
And you can see the tire barrier. If you go back about 25 yards, you can see the tires have been knocked loose. Here's a look at the scene from pit lane. See the safety trucks have arrived, more on the way. Some debris in the racing line. It's John Moore coming down through there.
We obviously had a dispute for the apex of that corner, but it must have started earlier, coming through the S's.
The leaders are coming through there now. You'll see it just to the left here of Chris Dyson's car. This is 10. This is somewhere in here is where it started. That's where it finished, with Pinteric on top of Andretti's car up along the tire barrier on the outside of the exit at 10.
As we bring everything together here, maybe we can get a look at our timing and scoring to check out where everybody is shaken out. There's been a lot of action and a lot of passes, a lot of drama. 2 sets of leaders coming to pit lane. This track takes its toll on cars in many different ways here, both from kind of getting drivers into bad situations and being hard on cars because it's such a tricky track.
And you know, back in the 80s, they used to run Trans Am here twice a year. There was a spring race and a fall race. While we're working to clear things up over in turn 10, we're going to take care of some business here on our end. Take a quick break. Stay with us here live on Speed Sport 1. We'll be right back to Sonoma.
Yes! Hon, the WeatherTech's here.
WeatherTech is the ultimate protection for your vehicle. Laser measured floor liners, no drill mud flaps, cargo liner, bump step, seat protector, and cup phone.
What about my car?
WeatherTech.
Hawk Performance packs 100 years of friction dynamics into every product. Backed by Carlisle Brake and Friction, the world's premier innovator of industrial brake and friction components, Hawk leverages R&D tools and motorsports experience to deliver uncompromising performance on the street. There's no reason to settle for less. Choose pads that are race-proven and street legal. Find the Hawk Performance brake dealer near you at hawkperformance.com.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance, priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Well, there's a look from our drone high above the incident between David Pinteric and Adam Andretti. And if you look along the tires, that's David Pinteric standing there talking to one of our safety crew members. So he has crawled out of the damaged 57 and is okay. And we saw Adam Andretti get out of his car earlier. So we're thrilled to announce that both of our drivers have made it out of this okay. These Trans Am cars, Andy, you guys have focused heavily on the safety of these cars, and they really are.
It is obviously safety number one here. You can see from this video there is quite a bit of damage to Adam's car here. Extremely happy he was able to pop out the safety hatch and climb off. Obviously super happy to see David standing there having a conversation. Here comes the replay. This is pretty wild here.
This is what we've been waiting to see.
Hard impact here.
Oh my, look at that.
Incredible here, and that's why we see the I was trying to figure out where the damage was coming to the A-pillar of the passenger side of Adams here, but the force and the rebound of, again, I mean, that's a fit guy right there to be able to take that kind of impact. It's a testament to the safety of these TA cars here, and man, what a wild ride. I want to still picture that car 20 feet up in the air pirouetting.
Here it is again. I asked to see this again. I've never seen a Trans Am car fly like that. Holy cow. When he gets caught up in those tires and up on Adam's car, Pinteric's car, fully airborne there, some 10 feet off the ground.
I mean, some amazing damage. Obviously, I feel really bad for the 57 and the 17, and they've got crew members there that are going to have to do this. But again, thankfully, and again, sort of perfect storm here. You've got the momentum of the 57 going into the wall. Only 2 tires thick of that wall there on the outside at Sonoma here. I'd love to see a little bit more there here. And then as it rebounds, Adam's car's just coming in to sort of pinball it, and then with the scoop nose and everything, pick it up off the ground. And to be honest, I guess it's kind of good we see the parts tear off. That's where you get the dissipation of the G-forces. We want to see these cars crumble and bend and stuff come off, because what you get is a big G impact, but you're trying to get the pinpoint of the G spike away from the driver's seat, obviously away from the driver's head. And seeing these 2 guys both hop out that quickly, it worked, because that was a gigantic hit.
The only thing we don't know is what actually caused it. They were side by side, and the only thing I can assume, we won't know until we talk to the drivers, is they were so tight going through 10, one of the cars might have got up. I would have believed it would be Adams, would have gotten up on the curbing, and maybe that upset it, and they made contact, and off they went.
I need to see the replay again, to be honest, because there was so much going on there that I didn't have everything recorded here. But it looks like Adam was trying to make a move into 10. It looks like maybe David didn't want him there, or maybe didn't see him there. That's a tricky place to make a pass.
More look at
Here comes the look to the inside.
See, it's already happened there. It looks like I saw brake lights, so
I think they get to a point by the apex that they both realize they don't want to be there, and they're trying to get out of the way of each other. But at that point, again, to be a little offline.
You see the brake lights on Penterek's car right there.
And
I don't
Adam's
know if he came
obviously
down
at
or
the curb.
Adam went over. They made contact. We know that for sure.
We're going to, post-race, be able to look at both of their in-cars and see who's pointing fingers at who. But I'm just thrilled that they're able to point fingers at each other after this. And they might have shared an ambulance ride back to our infield care center here. Obviously, a huge amount of damage to Adam's car. When you drop a Trans Am car on the top of another one, you can expect that. But again, great to see that they were both able to get out, no problem. And
well, and you dropped that Trans Am car from 10 feet above the other one.
While spinning around.
While spinning around, yeah. Man, that was a wild ride for both of them.
So our safety team has quite a challenge on their hands as we fix the wall here.
All right, well, it's going to be a minute again while they clear this all up, get these cars out of the way, and reset those tires. So we'll take care of some more business so we can show you all the remaining laps green when we come back.
How good is this? Look at this view from Losowski.
It brings all my fans, it brings the audience into the car with me.
Speed turn, 140 mile an hour entry speeds.
The quickest and most efficient way for me to get information to my drivers is from using the V-Box HD2 system.
Said. One of the ways you overtake here at Sebring is really good in the braking zone, like this one right here.
Both go around. There's the green. We are back and at it. Watch this. Oh, Lagarde, Miller, Lagarde.
out how to get the 57 and the 17 loaded up here. I'm going to run down our timing here. We still have Paul Menard, probably happy for this break to cool those tires down and try to be able to reassess what he's got and try to pull away from Dyson. Dyson definitely didn't want to see this as he was right on the cusp of trying to take the lead. Tommy Dreese now has landed on our podium here. Still a lot to go here, but 8 laps remaining in the race. A lot to think about. Can Dreese, has he kept enough in the tank? Can he make a charge at Dyson and Menard and come through this field here? Our first national race for TA Cups got Sutherland in the lead. Guthrie right now in second. Ken Thwaites, I'll finally say that right, in our final podium spot as we get ready to roll here. And Mr. Wang, Mr. Coffee, and pulling up the other leaders in our GT, XGT classes here. And cars are rolling through the safety scene here, obviously taking their time. We've got a lot of personnel on scene here. We've got the tire wall fixed, but trying to figure out how we wedge these cars on the flatbed, apparently.
Yeah, and we're going to have to clean off some of this dirt over here. Let's find out more from the story of Adam Andretti with Ben Sissel.
Well, guys, I'm here with a very frustrated top-liner Burton Racing team, Damon Lockhart. They've been watching it. Damon actually saw it live. What did you see, Damon?
It's, you know, right around here, it looked like they were closing, Adam was closing the gap on Penteric, and I thought he was going to let him through cleanly. And somewhere in that zone, they collided. I don't know what happened. I want to see the in-car before I pass judgment, but I feel like this was completely avoidable.
And they only have a few days to fix this before Laguna Seca. Now, the camaraderie of Trans Am, we've already had some teams say that they can go to their shop and fix it. As I'm coming out here to show the pass-through, the drivers that are coming back through pit lane to put the cars back in order so that we can get this thing restarted as soon as these great safety crews, Mike and his team here at Sonoma, do a great job of cleaning up, making sure everything is back up to working and safe before we go back to green. But right now, Andy and Ralph, I'm seeing a very frustrated Burton Racing and top liner team here. Back to you in the booth.
I want to talk about something real quick. We saw a bunch of cars pitting there, so instead of everybody getting worried that maybe somebody's got a flat or they're coming through, we call it a wave back, where you might see some teams, some series do a wave around when we're trying to get the cars of different classes on the lead lap. We do it in what we think is a slightly safer manner, to where we will wave those cars through pit lane. They'll come through slowly. They'll tag to the back of the lead, to the pack, and then we add a lap to them. So obviously they don't have to burn the gasket around, but in this exact situation, the reason that we do that is so that cars aren't flying around, panicking, trying to get to the back of the pack while we still have safety on the scene here. So that's what you saw. If it was a little bit confusing, is you saw a bunch of cars pit in a race that obviously we wouldn't be doing pit stops in. These guys didn't have a problem. We're just organizing the field so that everybody's on the proper lap and we don't have to send cars around at speed.
Looks like both cars are hooked up. One on the tow truck, one on the rollback. Getting the last big pieces of sheet metal out of the way. And body panels out of the way, and then they're going to do a little, looked like they had to clean off a little dirt on the entrance to pit lane over there.
A little bit of dirt. Yards of dirt right there. As we see our guys rolling through here, we're on board with Tommy Dreese and the Trent Shoring Company. I'm taking a sip of my gym weed up here. I don't know if this is worth the thing. I go by Chris's tent every weekend and I steal a case from him. I'm drinking the tropical punch here.
I could use one right now.
I'm not a big energy drink guy.
Yeah.
But this is totally separate from that. I love this. This is like one of my dailies here. It's not the I'm not getting the jitters or all spazzy after this. It's great vitamins, great energy.
Right. I need to try that.
Yeah, good stuff.
I could use one. Although I will tell you, the racing action here today has definitely had me up on the edge of the seat throughout this 100-miler so far.
We have one car off, still waiting for some reason to get the 17 car rolling on the hook here. We've got guys around it. I don't know if we're leaking fluids or if they're trying to get pieces from falling off, but they're working hard trying to get at it here. Maybe a lap or two before we get going green, but I imagine we can do this relatively quick here. Again, Menard, Dyson, Dreesy, 1, 2, 3, and TA. TA Cup is Sutherland, followed by Guthrie, followed by Ken Thwaites. We've got our SGT leader of Joshua Carlson. We've got our XGT leader. I'm not even going to try to say it. Mr. Wang. I'm just going to call him Mr. Wang. I practiced it 37 times, and now that I'm under pressure, I'd mess it up here. But
is it Schwinn?
I'm not even going there.
Ben had it down pretty good.
Oh, exactly. Ben said it so well, and I tried to repeat it.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Wang, I apologize. I'll get to you in person. I came down to you this morning, but you weren't at the trail yet.
Yeah.
I wanted to
well, we're
have a
thrilled
conversation.
to have you in your Lamborghini here.
Exactly. What a cool car here. He had some struggles. That car's a beautiful car. I've raced a Lamborghini in GT3 here in GT3 before. Fun car. He's struggling. No traction control with that thing.
Yeah.
That is definitely tricky to do when you shut that off and you've got cool temps like we've had all weekend. I was here a month ago. It was 75 and sunny. Here this weekend, we're lucky to get over 55 degrees. Obviously haven't had a lot of sun on the track here, so these are definitely tricky conditions around here.
All right, we're getting ready to go back to green. We got 6 laps to go, Andy, and we got Menard and Dyson glued to each other, and then 2 cars back behind that comes Dreesy, then Cruz with a fresh right front, and Amy Ruman back there. We're going to have quite the fight in Trans Am presented by Pirelli to the finish here at Sonoma Raceway. Dyson right up on the backside of Menard. Paul tries to slow the field down as they roll towards 12. Little gamesmanship here. Now he's into the throttle. There it is, green flag, little wiggle. The Lambo moves over, Dreesy gets by, Cruz gets by, so the top 4 right in a row now with clear racetrack with 5 laps remaining.
I think we just put a right front on Cruz, but maybe he's got even better tires than that. Obviously able to get through here. Our guys 2, 3 wide coming through our S's through turns 2, 3. I think we should, Josh had a great idea. He said we should call it the Cube 3 turn 3. I think that's an obvious one to remember here. Chris Dyson wanting to reapply the pressure that he had before we went yellow before, and he's right back at it here.
Oh yeah, he's all over him. Menard and Dyson fighting for the win here at Sonoma.
It's so strange where they're normally at the front, you've got 2 very similar cars, but these guys are strong and weak in different points of the course. That's what's going to make this battle for the lead really good. Chris has to take advantage in the places that he's strong, and Paul obviously knows that's the places that he has to defend.
A pair of Ford Mustangs have held the top 2 spots in this one since the drop of the original green flag.
Just as a heads up here, we see a battle between Dreesy and Cruz. Cruz, unfortunately, is a lap down, so Dreesy's pretty locked into 3rd here, but obviously wants to stay ahead of Cruz so that he can keep Menard and Dyson in sight and be able to take advantage of anything that goes wrong between those 2. Paul with about a half a second lead now as they come through turn 1.
And Brent Cruz doesn't like being behind anybody no matter what the situation is, right?
And that kid wins in everything. He's got 2 wins already in the ARCA series for Joe Gibbs Racing. He's been winning in everything he gets into. Won yesterday in the Trans Am TA2 race and wants to go forward here today just to prove a point.
All right, headed down to turn 4. And you can see Dyson again so good on the brakes. So there gets a little bit to the inside. Now look at Menard again. Starts to stretch it back out as they get off the corners. And he's really good coming off of the carousel here.
He is. He's got some patience in the middle, and he's able to get the power before Dyson. And that's what keeps him safe for the charge into turn 7 here. Obviously, Chris too far back to try to make a move, a sensible move anyway. That might change last lap if he's getting desperate and wants to go forward here. But now we've got this championship has been turned upside down, and Chris and Menard are back in this.
And then Cruz in that bright yellow and blue Dodge Challenger, the Weaver Concepts Mobile One Dodge Challenger. Brent out of Davidson, North Carolina, suburb of Charlotte.
Chris sticking his nose in. Paul's a veteran, can usually tell by the depth in the mirror how far back that is, how serious that charge is, or if Chris is just trying to get him to move offline.
And you can also tell how defensive Paul is driving by how much of that inside red and white striping he's eating up with that width of that car.
Once he wants to get himself to the apex, park it there, and then take his time to drive off. Tommy Dries is doing a really good job of holding off a charging young Brett Cruz here.
He really is.
Tommy obviously wanting a podium finish here. That's huge for his points, huge for his team. Shot in the arm here as we're at the first of our 2 rounds. And we talked about this earlier in the show, but this wreck with Andretti and Pinteric, that's going to have huge implications going into next week. These guys are going to be working hard to get these cars back together. I love this picture-in-picture we've got here with Dyson's on board, following that Pittsburgh Paints number 3 Menard car.
Here comes Cruz. Tommy just beats him to the corner. Brent now searching inside, outside.
Still
filling
sparks.
those mirrors. And the battle for the lead is just as tight, headed down through the Cube 3 Architecture S's.
You can see Menard sets up to give up a little bit mid-corner of the S's so he can get on that power. Slightly later apex than Chris. Chris might be looking some fresh air here. There's a big nose on these cars, so you get a lot of arrow, you get a lot of turbulence, you lose a lot of bit of your nose in the fast stuff when you're right tucked in under somebody's gearbox there. And it's very tricky for the following car to be just as fast as the lead car when you don't have as much front downforce on the car, and the car out in clean air. We've heard that term, so to speak, so many times. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to make the most efficient use of the aerodynamics on your car. We don't have a huge drafting area here, but certainly you take away 3, 4, 5% of the following car's downforce, and it definitely makes it tricky. Dyson right there now.
2 laps remaining as we watch Dreesy and Cruz into 4, and there's Menard and Dyson just in front of them.
There is no more big picture here. If you want the win, this is when you got to go for it. Chris has been wanting it, but now he's going to turn it up an extra percent. Maybe it's been 99. He's going to be at 100, 101. This is when you start to take the chances. Even if I got a little damage, I could limp it home from here, and I want to go for it. I want to stand on the top of that podium.
They both need a big points day. Remember, Dyson had the crash at Sebring as Cruz looks outside, tucks back to the inside. Dyson with the huge crash at Sebring, missed Road Atlanta where Matt Brabham got behind the wheel of the Jim Weed 16 and took the win. Menard had the win at Sebring, had a shot at the win at Road Atlanta, but had mechanical problems there. Adam Andretti with 2 second places had the points lead coming into today. He's out from the big wreck. These 2 looking to make up the points and get themselves back in the fight for the championship.
Which
one's going to stand on the top step of the podium? 1 more lap to go here at Sonoma. Up the hill they go to Mission Foods, turn number 2. Menard, first one there in the Pittsburgh Paints Ford Mustang. The Jim Weed Mustang right behind as they storm across the ridge over to turn 3.
Chris closer than he's been yet. That last look into the hairpin in 11, that wasn't a deke. He was going for it there.
Oh, at 4, he gets in the nose inside. Can he come up alongside by the 5? No, can't get it done. Menard holds him off. Paul Menard will lead them into the carousel where he's quicker on exit than Dyson. But that sets up Summit turn number 7 as a fantastic passing spot coming up next.
And he's closer than he's been, but too far back to make any sort of serious lunge here. But what Chris is thinking ahead right here is turn 11. He's got to get through the S's. Does not have to make a pass here, cut him offline, whatever. He just wants to stay as glued to that bumper as possible, get that Jim Weed Ford underneath him going into 11, and I guarantee you when we come through 10 here, Paul's going to be moving to the inside to make that block.
Menard knows Dyson will be thinking about rooting and gouging from the inside out at 11, so Menard has to defend. Here we come. There's the dip to the inside. Dyson looks. Can't get there. Is he going to try the crossover? come back inside. Menard with a perfect eating up of that inside line, protects the lead as they come through 12. Paul Menard will win at Sonoma in a fantastic race-long duel with Chris Dyson, who will hold on for second. Tommy Dreese crosses the line in third.
Jim Guthrie takes the lead on the final lap here to take the win, cross the checkers first, or coming to the line still.
Yep, still coming to it. He's in the lead of TA Cup. Ruman is across the line. Amy will finish 8th overall. Guthrie just crossed the line with her, taking 4th overall and first in TA Cup. Then Thwaites and Sutherland rounding out the podium there.
So Sutherland, our leader before in TA Cup, had dropped to 3rd. That moves Ken up to 2nd. A great race and a great showing on the national side for our TA Cup guys, coming home 4th, 5th, and 6th, just proving how strong and how quick those cars are here.
That was the best race of the season so far.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be a part of it here with you, buddy.
Yeah,
love calling races with you. Love this Trans Am action here. Michelle Nagy, we're getting a look at her on the cool-off lap. Obviously, she was the class of the field early, ran into some issues as negotiating lap traffic here at Sonoma is not an easy thing.
Those two have to be worn out.
Oh, yeah.
They were up on the wheel the entire 100 miles. There is no rest for the weary or the wicked in that one.
There was nobody more looking forward to coming out of turn 12 and seeing a clear windshield with that checker flag than Paul. Chris wanted another 5 laps because he needed those opportunities to come through here, but obviously congrats to Paul. Those guys went through a lot this morning, so the work that they've got ahead of them, both on this car before Laguna and their hauler, is well worth it, and that parking lot party for those guys is going to be big tonight.
There's going to be some busy crews between now and Monterey. Obviously Pinteric and Andretti, and then Gentilozzi bunch over here. Brent Cruz's guys, Pancho Weaver.
A lot of work to do. This is tough. When we come to the West Coast and we do back-to-back races like this, all these guys all week long talking about make the smart decisions, get through this race, because we don't have too many resources here on the West Coast or time to turn these cars around so quickly for a race next week. But then we drop the green flag and everybody goes crazy, smashes into each other, and it's a wild Trans Am race here on the West Coast here.
None of these guys are going to go sightseeing over at Pier 39 or Yosemite or anything like that. They're all going to somebody's race shop and getting to work tonight.
They're borrowing some floor space, and they're going to be getting to work here for sure. We've got championships to think about. Obviously, a podium celebration ahead as we've got Ben down there with Paul, the ever-energetic Paul Menard. Hopefully, we'll get some family with him there to help him celebrate. Jim Guthrie pulling in with the W for TA Cup.
Kevin Mooney with the camera stuck in the window there, capturing the images.
Kevin Mooney gets some really quality stuff for us. Hard worker, very creative, gets us some great footage.
Talking and helping to unbuckle Paul, get the steering wheel out of the way. I love the half door.
For safety reasons, again, great to have that on there. Closes it up aerodynamically, and we see Paul come out, his typical celebration. Super excited guy here. Another accomplishment for Paul Menard. Are we going to send this down to Ben to celebrate with our winner here?
All right, Ben, take it away, buddy.
Well, Paul Menard, that looked like an absolute blast out there. You had Dyson just behind you the whole time, trying everything. And I got to say, the 3GT, once you pass them on the wall, I've never seen your team celebrate like that. Hard-fought win. That's got to feel good. Tell me about your race.
It was a battle. We set pace early. The track wasn't completely dry, so we the first couple laps just kind of tiptoed, really. And then at 5 laps in, it kind of pushing pretty hard. And I felt like we had pretty good pace, and then just started getting loose throughout the run, and Chris started closing up. I made a couple of little mistakes with hitting the curbs. The curbs are still wet, so thank you. Hit the curbs are wet. I blew a couple corners. Chris closed up, and then we just kind of play cat and mouse with traffic, and that caution I think helped us. We're better short run, he's better long run, but had a lot of adversity this morning with 3GT. The guys battled. You know, they came in at 7 o'clock and had troubles with the truck, and then we had some engine issues that Tony and the boys fixed up. So we're led every lap, won the race, great point stay, and now I'm looking forward to Laguna. I've never been there, so we got 20 minutes to figure it out.
Nice. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I mean Pittsburgh Paints and Stains, Justin, Alex, Mike, all the guys are here. Just a lot of support throughout the years from that company and Menards and everybody at Paul Gentilosi's group and Tony and John and all the boys. So get a lot of support and make my job a lot easier.
Nice, I love it. Paul Menard, P1 right here. How about that, Sonoma Speed Tour? Getting a little congratulations there from the Gentilosi boys. Tell them, but where is Jim Guthrie? I got to tell you this. So yesterday I'm talking to Jim Guthrie. I'm like, well, tell me about your race. He's like, well, my shoulder still hurts. I'm going to go out there and take it easy. Come here, Jim, with Guthrie's Garage. Then he fell back early in the race, and I thought, oh, what's going on? Then he comes back to win it. You got to be feeling good now.
Dude, that was the hardest way to do it. Luckily, that was the perfectly timed yellow, and I just took advantage of that downhill brake zone on Ken, and he was a gentleman and let me have it. So then we just drove it to home. So, man, that was hard.
Yeah, that was definitely a hard-fought battle out there, wasn't it?
Had to start from the back twice. My own fault, though. My own fault. Man, that was fun, though. A lot of fun. Great cars.
That's awesome. Jim Guthrie, how about that, ladies and gentlemen? I'm hearing that we want to go try to find Chris Dyson. So we're going to run over here to Parc Fermé and find Chris Dyson in the Jim Weed shirt. I see him over here in the far corner. Let's see if he'll make his way over here. Dyson, come on to winner's circle. Come on, Chris. So we'll walk and talk if you don't mind. Chris Dyson, I know that you're disappointed with the second place, but man, that was one of my favorite TA races I've seen in years.
No, Ben, I mean, I can't be disappointed. I mean, honestly, like 2 weeks ago, I didn't think I was going to drive, and you know, it was only about a week and a bit ago that I was actually cleared and felt good, you know, to go, and I pushed really, really hard to get here. I'm really proud of my effort this weekend. It was a great race with Paul. I think, honestly, if we hadn't gotten that yellow, I think I would have gotten him. He was coming back to me. But then it cooled off, and we only had a few laps at the end there. But I'm really proud of the team for giving me such a good car. There was tricky conditions. I proved to myself I could still do it.
I'm proud of you, man. Nice job. I can tell that finish means a lot to you. I know you want to be at the top, but I can tell just as he's going. Watch out for the cone. Sorry. So we're coming back here. Ralph and Andy, I'm going to send it up to you, and we're going to have fun here at Jim Weed Winner's Circle with Sonoma in just a few minutes.
Yeah, buddy, it's going to be a great time down there in a Jim Weed Winner's Circle. Think back to Sebring, Andy, and the impact that Chris Dyson had there. The second year in a row, he begins his Trans Am presented by Pirelli championship run with a big wreck at Sebring. But this year, the biggest of the two, huge G impact. As you heard him say, just a week and a half ago, he got the official clearance to go racing, and then to have a physically demanding event like today, and he puts that thing up on the podium. Very impressive.
And you don't have to win every race to be proud of what you've done. Obviously, that was a long time to come back from an injury like that and what he's feeling. Here it is on TV. Lost that right front and bang, boy, did he feel that the next day. I spoke to him that night. The adrenaline was still up, and he's like, I think I'm okay, but obviously woke up, and over the next couple days as that gets worse, that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
But to come here, have a battle like that, have a legend like Paul Menard and be all over him and have a shot at it, he leaves here knowing he's got a car in one piece, he's on his way to Laguna, and he's at the top of his game because he's made the full recovery, had a great race, didn't dump the guy, had plenty of chances. I mean, he could have dirtied him, he could have spun him in 11. The last 5 laps in a row, could have dumped him off in 4 there. Obviously raced him clean. We love to see that. It's a great example in the Trans Am Series, and a wonderful finish to an incredible race here.
And he knows Paul Menard doesn't have experience at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Chris does. that's going to be a huge advantage for him because they are both now squarely back in the championship fight.
And you heard Paul say he's only got 20 minutes. This is a short week for us at Laguna Seca, and that's going to be – I'm surprised Paul hasn't found his way to Laguna Seca over the last 30 years that he's been driving here. What an incredible circuit. Looking forward to that next week. But, boy, Chris will have an advantage because he has been racing there for decades.
Decades, yes. All right, that's a look at the results from our Trans Am presented by Pirelli Sonoma Speed Tour event. Let's go back down to the Jim Weed Winner's Circle and catch up with Ben once again.
All right, come on, Sonoma, get loud. We're live on TV here at Jim Weed Winner's Circle for the end of the TA Cup, XGT, SGT, and GT race. And what a race it was. I think this dude right here wants something from us. You need a hat or something like that. We're about to have some fun at our Jim Weed Winner's Circle. We are going to start with the Western Championship Super GT. I can't wait to talk to this person because it was a little bit rough out there. His first time in the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Let's hear it for JD Coos in that beautiful Porsche Cup car. Where is he? I saw him not too long ago. There he is. Oh, it's his second time. Sorry. It's my first time, but he did Buttonwillow, and I wasn't at Buttonwillows. Come on up here, JD. First place in that singular stock car in SGT Western. Let's hear it for Rudy Revak. Yeah, we're just doing the Western. Yeah, you're trying to be third. You're second, dude. Where is Rudy? You said Rudy didn't finish?
Where's Rudy? Where's Rudy? That's the question.
Where is Rudy? You know, if only there was a chant about Rudy from a famous movie that we could get going. There we go. You're trying, so you deserve a hat. Rudy Revak, going once, because if not, you can just move up to the top step and we'll allow it. Anybody seen Rudy? I was kidding about that, by the way. No Rudy. All right, so we'll just start with JD. Not the finish that you wanted. Quite an adventure out there, but second place here in Super GT. Thank you for bringing out that beautiful Porsche. How was your race?
It was going good. Rudy was the guy who actually, he started behind me. He got ahead of me, and we had a good battle going, me and that Pontiac. I was literally, I swear to God, about to catch him, maybe about halfway through, and I got a little hit in the back that spun me. It was kind of a late move in 7, I think, that just put me sideways. Then I got a hit again, and it was wheel damage. So with wheel damage, we couldn't continue. But the first half of the race was really good. It is what it is, racing incident.
How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, come on, get loud. JD Coos, ladies and gentlemen. Nice. Keep it up, Sonoma. Oh, yeah, put your hat on, JD, sorry. And then you can throw it afterwards. Come on, JD Coos, second place, Super GT. Oh. Yeah, we got a little crosswind happening. We're going to have to really throw it hard out there. All right, Sonoma, don't disappoint. Get loud. JD Coos. Make it worth it because he got some damage out there. Yeah, if you want to. Who wants it? Boom. Oh, Chris Green. All right, well, I guess you can just drink that if you don't want, unless you want to spray it. Yeah, well, he's national SGT. He will not with you, but he will. But you want to. Oh, sorry, Seth. All right, take that back with your team and have a drink. One for the homies. How about one more time? JD Coos, Western SGT. This is a new class, and it's been kind of in the rumblings and things like that for the last couple years. But last year, right here in that building, we decided that we're going to make this its own class. It's going to be called the TA Cup class. It is quickly growing. In third place, TA Cup from Portland, Oregon area, the Pacific Northwest. Let's hear it. Kahlberg Racing, Ken Sutherland. Where is he? In a Mopar. Come on up here, Ken. Don't be shy. This guy has finished a race in TA, in TA2, in XGT and SGT, and now in TA Cup at Buttonwillow and here. Podium, Denholm. He's correcting me. Let's hear it all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Let's hear it for Ken Twaits, Franklin Road Apparel. Ken Twaits in his Camaro, signature black Camaro. But ladies and gentlemen, we have the big three on the podium with us today, because in his Ford Mustang, in first place, he fell back to the back, came back to win. Let's hear it from Guthrie's Garage, Jim Guthrie. Sorry. Sherwood, Oregon. Ken Sutherland, he's been competing with us in SVRA and Trans Am from Pacific Northwest, Sherwood, Oregon. I want to be specific. Tell us about your race out there.
Well, with about 2 laps to go, I thought I was winning the damn thing because timing and scoring had us up a full lap on. So I let these two guys go by me, unlap themselves. Turns out that was for position. I hope that's a mistake, and I'll get that trophy. But anyway, it was a great race. We had a great car, but I will tell you, Michelle Nagai, she was the class of the field. Unfortunately, she had a little damage out there. I had nothing for her. So she's put notice on us, guys, that she can put it down. But anyway, congrats to my team, podium finish. Hopefully better. It turns out later. But, yeah, great race.
Well, guys, I need a round of applause because he thought he was doing the right thing. It is good racing out there, sportsmanship, letting the lap cars go by. He thought he had us. So how about one more round of applause? Ken Sutherland. That stinks, man. I'm so sorry. Ken Twaits. He says, I'm just doing what I'm told. Podiumed in all classes but GT. So Chris Coffey, he's going to be coming after you for a ride so that he can be the only person to do it. Ken, take the mic. Tell us about your race.
Oh, man, it was pretty awesome, and it was pretty bad. It's pretty ugly, and then it was pretty good. So from last to second, I'll take it, baby.
Anybody you want to thank out there?
I'd like to thank Chris Evans Racing and Jeff Jefferson Racing. Those guys are a great team. They prepare a great car. Aren't these TA Cup cars pretty, baby? Woo!
Now, Ken, you helped produce Road to Glory, all about this TA Cup with Chris Evans. Where can we find that?
You can find it on the Racer Network, and look it up and TiVo it. Do they have TiVo anymore? I don't know. Yeah, check it out.
Nice. How about that? Ken Twaits, Franklin Road Apparel. Jim Guthrie, like I said, he was complaining. He's been having shoulder problems. He's like, I'm going to go out there and take it easy. I don't think you have that in your vocabulary. Take the mic. Tell us about your race.
Oh, man. Well, you know, we had high hopes. I didn't want to get beat by a girl again, and oh, well. Anyway, I ran into Ken. I ran into the boss, just dug down, and I got probably the luckiest timed yellow ever. And then I thought I was really racing Ken, and turns out he wasn't racing me. So it's kind of a shallow win, but Ken, we'll do it again. I know we will. Oh, yeah. So we've had a lot of fun. So thanks to Chris, to Jeff, Joe, Adam, Camry, all the team. You guys are great. Fun to work with. All my competitors are awesome. You guys are fun. It's a great bunch of guys. So I appreciate it. Thanks for coming out and supporting us.
Nice. I love it. All right, gentlemen, hold that up. Sonoma, keep up this energy. I'm loving this crowd. How about that? Ken Sutherland, Ken Twaits, Jim Guthrie, TA Cup. So excited. This is my first TA Cup race of the season. I've been really excited to see it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Come on out there. There you go. Don't worry. Don't worry. All right, Sonoma. This is on TV, so we need everybody. Okay, I'm going to get you one. We need everybody to get super loud. Come on now. Ken Sutherland, Ken Twaits, Jim Guthrie. One more time. Man, Sonoma, keep this up. Man, this is good. I like this crowd. And feel free to come on in, everybody. I see a dude out there in a Trans Am sweatshirt. Nice job. Did you get that right there from Sean? Nice, yeah. All this stuff is available. Let's hear it one more time. Ken Sutherland, Ken Twaits. Sorry, Seth. Jim Guthrie. Man, you guys just went right for the eyes. Nice job. Sutherland, you move pretty quick over there.
He doesn't want to wash his suit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, we are racing in like 6 days. Hey, do you have a pad or anything, good boy? Crazy. Yeah, like I said, anybody wants any of these Trans Am hats or hoodies or anything like that, right here in this white tint. And we've got some blowouts going on. All right, hold on. I got to give this to her because she's been, come here, EXP. There you go. Come on. Yeah, we love our fans here in Trans Am Series. All right, now we're going national. Last year's GT champion in first place, but his whole family is here. No. His whole family's coming up on stage. Let's hear it. Norwood Auto Italia for Chris Coffey in that beautiful Traffic Graphics Maserati. I'm not going to make you do your patented scream, but Chris Coffey, first of all, introduce who's on stage here right now.
So this is my 5-year-old son, Sam, and this is my wonderful wife, Morgan. These are the ones that make all of this possible for me.
How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Round of applause. Team owners right here, basically. Chris, how was your race out there?
It was a little bit of a struggle. Car broke pretty much right off the bat. We had some sort of rear suspension issue, and just got worse throughout the race. And then, thankfully, it broke on the last lap, and not so I was able to finish. But I just want to thank Colin Cohen. Without him, I couldn't be here. Xavier, Alex, my crew, they did the best they could. Came into pit lane, and they checked to see if there was anything they could fix, and there wasn't. So we just kept running. And I want to thank my sponsors, Chill Out Motorsports, Traffic Graphics, and P2R. So thanks, guys.
He said thanks, guys. Now, how was your race out there?
Oh, it was fun.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, we enjoyed the sheep.
Enjoy the sheep, yeah. We do love the sheep here. Let's hear it. Ladies and gentlemen, GT National, last year's champion here, Chris Coffey. He's giving you the skunk. I don't know what that means. There we go. Hold that up. Sorry, Seth. And then if you'll hold up that Pirelli hat. I think your son likes being up here on the podium. You might be in trouble there, Chris Coffey. One more time, Chris Coffey, GT, last year's champion and current points leader in National GT with that beautiful Maserati. Colin Cohen, I don't know where you are, but oh, there you are. Thanks, guys. Xavier, nice job on that. So, yeah, Josh Hurley told me to bring the family up, Chris Coffey, so you can blame him. Super GT drove here all the way from Davenport, Iowa. Let's hear it for Josh Carlson in that beautiful blue Ford Mustang. Come on up here, Josh. Come on, let's give a round of applause, people. In Siva, Super GT car. Josh, how was your race out there?
It was fun. Was running with the TA Cup cars most of the race. Spent the whole weekend just testing new things on the car and getting it dialed in. And just made some laps and got our fourth win in a row. So I'd like to thank Insiva, my dad, All Test Inc., Dirks LTD, TC Fab. Without them, I wouldn't be racing. So, and yeah, looking forward to Laguna.
Nice. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, Josh Carlson. I found out yesterday that when he's not racing, he's driving for DoorDash. I asked him, that must be the fastest deliveries in the world from DoorDash. All the way from Davenport, Iowa. One more time. Hold that up high. Josh Carlson, Super GT, and Trans Am 4 in a row, so our obvious points leader. Yeah, and go DoorDash, right. You need to get a sponsorship from DoorDash, Josh Carlson. You might be their only race car driver. In XGT, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say something real quick because this is amazing. This talks about the teamwork that happens. He broke here earlier in the week. His crew had to fly to Portland, break into their shop at midnight, rent a car, and drive parts all the way back down here so that they can fix and help him fix his beautiful Lamborghini in XGT first place. How about that hustle? Schwinn Shin, ladies and gentlemen, with Orlik, very high-end, hi-fi equipment. If you're a audiophile, you got to give Orlik a look. Man, talk about hustle. Unbelievable. I would say Sonoma's bad luck for you after the last 2 years, but you've redeemed yourself, and that is no longer the case. How was your race?
Yeah, Sonoma is really not a good place for me. Last year, we kind of like qualified pretty good, I remember, but just crashed at the turn one at the start. And this year, we crashed at the testing because of the rain. A lot of electronics doesn't work, and I really appreciate the crew, the Speed class from Texas. We have wonderful crew. They flew back, got the parts, and put the car back together. We got something doesn't work, but still, finish the race. It's just a little bit shame that the guy in front of me just sprayed the oil on the windshield. So I tried to wipe it. It just all white, so I can't see anything. So I just come in, have to clean the windshield. Then I know, okay, so this is just about finished. Just get away from everyone. Yeah, this is a good week. Yeah, thank you.
I love it. Yeah, I was wondering why you came in, but he said he got oil. So first you go out there with no traction control, then you can't see. So you were out there. That's amazing. How about that, ladies and gentlemen? Sheheen out there with Orlik and that beautiful Lamborghini. And then we'll do the hat dance. Again, though, any audiophiles out there, give his company a look. Come on, Sonoma, hard-fought battle. They had to go through everything this weekend. Sheheen in that beautiful Lamborghini. Thank you. He says, thank you, everybody. Man, that was quite some hustle there. Oh, there you go. Oh, he almost dove for it. There you go. I like it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the best TA races I've seen in a while. That was a lot of fun between two of our last two champions. In third place with Trent Shoring, beautiful black Camaro from California. Let's hear it for Hollywood himself, Tommy Dreese, third place. On the podium again. You got your phone on you, Tommy? All right, because this is going to be one that he's going to want to get. So get up on that step. We're going to do our famous Dreese selfie. Anytime he gets on the podium, he takes a selfie with people on the podium. Three-time TA champion. We are at Jim Weed Winner's Circle, and we've got some Jim Weed to give away after this. Running right up against, trying to get by. Let's hear it for Chris Dyson with Jim Weed. Second place, three-time TA champion. The Jim Weed Athletic Focus drink. So glad to have him back with us. And then, ladies and gentlemen, in the Pittsburgh Paints and Stains Premier 3GT Menards car. He raced here in the Cup Series. His car is actually here racing in SVRA Group 10. Let's hear for the legend, Paul Menard. All right, we got to pause for one of these famous selfies from Tommy Dreese. Oh, and Tommy's going to just steal the top step, too. Check that out. Yeah. He says when you get the opportunity. There you go. Smile, cheese. Oh, Dyson is tongue out. I love it. So you got to follow Dreese on social media because we're going to make a montage of these. Dreese, back on the podium at Sonoma. How's that feel?
It feels really good. These first couple races, we were right there for a couple podiums and had some issues, but these guys fired off. They were the class of the field. I don't know what happened with Andretti, but I think he went off, and then he came back on, and I think, he had the bit between and tried to want to catch up. And Cruz was fast, and I don't know whether he had an issue or he had to come in. They told me he was a lap down, but I didn't trust it. So he was nice to me. Anyway, great. Trent Shoring, Motul, Ken Twaits helps everybody out here. And Trans Am, all the fans out here. Lacey Jagger, Elin, I love you.
Nice, I love it. How about that, Tommy Dreese? And Tommy, you're right. There were about 20 times that Brent could have nudged you off, but he was racing you good and clean. I love that. Dyson, you're back. I love it. Back up on the podium. Tell us about your race.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, it's so great to be back here. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be back at Sonoma with the Trans Am Series. I love this event. Obviously, this is home for our friends at Jim Weed, and we have some friends here today. What a battle out there. I mean, I was about 10 days ago, I wasn't sure I was going to be here, and then we sort of decided to push, and I had about 5-6 weeks to make up for with conditioning, and this was about as steep a mountain I could have possibly have chosen to climb back into, and it was a great battle out there with Paul the whole way. Man, I was bummed when we got that yellow because it was coming to us, but great fight all the way to the end. I'm excited to be racing next week at Laguna, and hopefully we can do one better then.
I love it. How about that, Dyson? And what he said is true. This track, probably more than any other track we go to, there is no resting. There's no true straightaway here at Sonoma. Very difficult. Paul Menard, unbelievable. Great race in 1-2. Take the mic. Tell us about your race.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns starting the race. You know, when we got here to the track this morning, it was wet. So do we do dries? Do we do wets? And then it started drying out. So just kind of took it easy the first couple laps, trying to figure out how much grip there was. And the tires came in, the track came in, and we could kind of set sail. Then just got loose, kind of struggling under braking zone and then initial turning. And as the race went on, Chris got better. And like you said, he didn't want that caution. I was praying for a caution. We got it. Just a physical track, a lot of fun. Great battling with Chris every week, and glad he's back. And love coming back out to Sonoma. The track itself, no rest. There's no cooling off on the brakes. The car just gets heat soaked and it's hot. Even though it's a cool day, it's still hot. It was with the heat soak and sliding around. It's still Sonoma with the slippery asphalt and trying to place the car right. So a lot of fun. Looking forward to Laguna. Never been there, so I'm gonna try to figure out the track in 20 minutes and try to do this again. So we'll see. Yeah, I got a lot of help here from these guys, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be good help too. Come on now, let's hear it, Sonoma. Tommy Dreese, Chris Dyson, Paul Menard. And Paul, are you going to get in your car anytime this weekend? Next week he's gonna get in the car and run it. All right, hold up. Now check this out. Cool Box gives you a certificate, $150, $250, $500 for the new Cool Box iceless cooling system. How about that? Nice. See this group over here. I like you guys. You guys are still alive. I like that. He said the wrong one. Oh, Dyson getting the gym weight, getting some energy in there. Uh-oh, where are you going? All right. Uh-oh, uh-oh. All right, now, come on, Sonoma. Let's get he can't hit you all the way out there. Uh-oh. Here we go. Oh, there you go. Come on now. Dreese, Tommy Dreese, Chris Dyson, Paul Menard. Oh, shoot, Kevin, sorry. Paul Menard at Jim Weed Winner's Circle. You know you're racing in about 6 days, guys. Oh, Tommy Dreese doesn't care. Well, Paul Menard and Chris Dyson, one for the homies right there, trying to keep their suits clean. Nice job. Hey, Bo and Remy, if you're watching, we need to add some energy to Paul Menard to act like he's won the race. We need Bo and Remy here to give us the good interviews next time. Come on now, Sonoma, one more time. Let's hear it. Tommy Dreese, Chris Dyson, Paul Menard. And then we come over here, visit Eric. We've got some Jim Weed athletic focus drinks on both sides of the stage. Thank you guys so much for coming out. That does it for the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli here at the Sonoma Speed Tour. We will be back here next year. Tell all of your friends. Bring them out. It's going to be a good time, but we still have SVRA groups to go.
Cool.
And we're going to be doing a fan walk out here for the Hoosier Tire 2.5 Challenge in just a few minutes. Xavier, you got a lot of work to do, man. You got to come and get yourself some Jim Weed. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We'll see you in a little bit.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. As our Jim Weed Winner's Circle wraps up, some of the fans getting an opportunity to grab a can of Jim Weed. Better hustle up because Andy will be headed back down there to get whatever's left over.
Absolutely.
For the post-race drive to wherever you're going tonight. We are going to take a quick break, but we're going to come back and wrap things up for you here live on Speed Sport 1. Stay with us.
Rev up and get ready for race day with Mission Foods. The world's best racers and tastiest products come together to make every race delicious. Fully loaded tacos, fast wraps, piled high nachos. Whatever you crave, Mission will help you be race ready with easy-to-make recipes that will take your race day to the finish line. Keep your racing delicious and enjoy all the mouth-watering action. Brought to you by Mission Foods. Too fast, too tasty.
Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Hagerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, all for less than a set of race tires. Hagerty, let's drive together.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
As we are closing up our third round of the 2025 championship season, the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Boy, it was a good one, Andy Lally. That was, I think, the best race of the year so far.
I'm lucky to be a part of this call with you. That was easy because we had so much action. This is why I love Trans Am racing. Absolutely a barn burner here. Great racing between two consummate professionals here that put on a great show for us, and plenty of action all the way around the track.
Paul Menard, of course, taking the win in his Pittsburgh Paints and Stains number 3. 3G Racing entry. Chris Dyson comes across the line in second. And it's just an outstanding day all the way around.
Our points are going to be really close now.
It's going to be tight.
Andretti had a good chunk there. Obviously, with Paul and Chris having a really good day after some bad days. And Dreesy, who again had been Mr. Consistent, coming along there, hasn't won a race, but this has really tightened up the race between all four of them.
Okay, as you look at this calendar here of where we're going with the National Championship, seeing where we are in the points now, we have Laguna next week. Then we get a little break till we get to Lime Rock. But then there's going to be a couple of spots in the middle of the season where things are going to get tight again, with not necessarily back-to-back, but awful close on the schedule of racing. Where do you see the championship taking a turn?
I mean, we have so much championship left to go here. Laguna Seca, with Paul telling me that he's never been there before, that's advantage Chris Dyson right there. That's probably advantage Adam Andretti and Tommy. This is his home state. He's been there. He's been to Laguna plenty of times there. So obviously, Paul be on his back foot with only 20 minutes of practice before qualifying. That's going to be tough. But then we move on. Lime Rock Park, Dyson's home track. Mid-Ohio, Dyson's been there a ton before. So that's the places where maybe Tommy hasn't been that much. Paul definitely has. Adam's been to all of these. So we're going to go back and forth with strengths and favorite tracks all over the place. This is going to be set up to every single week. We're going to have challenges and new guys having advantages every place we go. So I can't say one place is where we're going to have any definitive turn or advantage set, but it's going to be every week.
This was that last lap. You can see Dyson hunting to the inside at 4. Then Paul just gets that drive and beats him to 5, and that really took the edge away from there.
that was it. I mean, there might have been a tiny little bit of contact. Chris just might have laid a bumper to him. Paul gave him enough room, but then focused on that exit speed and was able to get into 5. Chris knew at that point it was either wreck them both or lift out of it and give Paul way. He knew he was really good into 11, but Paul, to his credit, did an amazing job of coming out of 7A, rolling the speed right here through 8, and then getting this launch off right there. You could see that car point and squirt, and then bang, he opens up 3 car lengths. As long as he gets through 10 fairly clean, it's definitely going to be a long shot. Paul can move over a little bit, shut the door a little bit. Chris goes for the over-under, attempts the slide job here. They're both spinning the tires coming out of the corner of the checkered flag. But, man, what an awesome finish.
Look at that 3G Ford Mustang of Paul Menard just hooking up and driving off that last corner. It was a thrilling race. And now we head down south, down the 101 to Monterey, which, depending on which time of day you leave from here to get there, could be a 3-hour ride, could be an 8-hour ride.
Yeah, definitely having one so close here. It's going to be quite the action-packed weekend. We've got the corkscrew. We've got turn 9. Going to be an amazing show at Laguna Seca. Make sure you turn in.
And we have a new track president there, and Lori Eberhardt. Looking forward to coming to your track, Lori. We'll see you guys in a week. For Andy Lally and Ben Sissel, I'm Ralph Sheheen. So long from Sonoma Raceway.